But this is going to be an amazing set, and here we are. We're 30 seconds into the game, and it's MiSTA as the French going up against DeMusliM playing the Mongols. The map is King of the Hill, and this will be a best-of-5 series. Both of these players heading into this are 1 win, 1 loss so far.
Yeah, they both had interesting routes. Obviously, MiSTA going up against Viper, DeMusliM going up against MarineLorD recently. MarineLorD looking very strong, taking out DeMusliM, but obviously this is a really important stage in the event because it kind of sets the tone for where you go, whether you go up, whether you go down, and how difficult it's going to be in those later stages. But now we can see that double scout opening coming through for the MiSTA. So pretty standard opening, I'd say. But on the other side, DeMusliM is just going up with the single Khan. It doesn't look like we've got a scout at this stage coming out for him.
And I want to see what the wood spawns are like here, because sometimes that can be really difficult on King of the Hill.
Yes, yeah, King of the Hill in particular is notorious for its wood spawns. You can see DeMuslim's got a pretty decent wood spawn here, but the main issue is going to be gold. Look how far away his gold is from this wood spawn here. And this is, I guess this is the difficult thing about picking Mongols on this map is just that it's never going to be a fun time. It's almost impossible to get the wood next to the gold. So he's going to almost certainly go for a Gur. And it's going to be a bit of a late age up for him, but we already see that barracks going down, Dave.
Yeah, and I believe in the qualification stage, it was a Mongol mirror on this, and I think it was MiSTA against B. And B took the risk of going for another wood line, like near a gold, and he was just traveling forever.
Yes.
He was like 3 villagers behind by the time he set up his town center. Luckily, that didn't happen here. DeMusliM has a good town center location there. MiSTA gathering some sheep with his 2 scouts, and he's going to bring them back to his town center. Also, an update on the fish thief theory. I don't think DeMusliM likes eating before he plays, so I don't think he's eaten at all.
So we can rule him out.
We can rule him out as well, but I'm not sure how to feel about MiSTA. Maybe we've got 2 portions of fish in that stomach there.
He looks like the kind of guy who would eat 2 fish.
I'll ask him later. He never lies. He keeps telling me this.
He doesn't lie, but he can mislead.
Yeah,
so
he can avoid telling the truth.
He might come in with like, did you eat 2 pieces of fish? And he'll say, well, it depends how you define
just walk away.
fish.
Yeah, he'll just walk away. Yeah. Perfect. I'll do some investigations later. We've got the School of Cavalry here for the MiSTA. DeMusliM harassing a little bit with the Khan, running away from the scout, and he's going to get tons of information on MiSTA's base. So what's the opening going to be like here for MiSTA, as we already see the Spearman, we already see the Villager coming over from DeMusliM?
Yeah, so MiSTA typically in this matchup likes to go for quite a few early scouts, and he's going to be using those to siege down any outposts. At the same time, he's going to look to be pushing out with maybe 3 or 4 archers, and then from there, he's going to be looking to try and take control of his own resource lines, his own wood lines, his own gold mines. The issue is that if DeMusliM goes for a bit of a fake rush, a fake attack, that it's going to buy him a fair bit of time by doing that.
Yeah, and it feels like with this uptime, MiSTA has some options to take care of the outposts, unless you have your military camped around between it. Like we saw it with, I think, Leenock, when he had his first set, he came forward with the Mongols, and it just added a few extra scouts, denied the outpost foundation, that second outpost foundation, and was able to take down the first one easily and then push back across. Now this is King of the Hills, so it's a different map than that, but it looks like a very similar situation.
Yeah, and take a look at where DeMuslim's put down his outpost. Absolutely pixel perfect.
Oh, in the fog of war there.
Not getting spotted out by the MiSTA whatsoever. So MiSTA obviously saw the Villager, did come in, so he knows it's around. Just, there we go. Now he does spot it. I would suspect that from the School of Cavalry, we're going to see scouts coming out, and that's exactly what we do see. So going to be plenty of scouts coming out here. And he's going to look to probably build that up to 5 or 6 scouts, then move into professional scouts from there.
It synergizes really well.
It really does.
It also takes care of the rush here if you can get a good engagement. There's only 3 spearmen here, so it's not too much, especially with the archer range up now from the MiSTA. That building was ignited as well, the mining camp back there. And the spearmen are now running into the TC, so a few extra hits. Those armies are going to really struggle to meet up with each other.
Yeah, but you can see MiSTA's already got 4 archers in queue. So even though that wood line's still under a bit of threat at the moment, he should be able to very capably clear out this outpost. Keep in mind that the scouts, they're great value when it comes to tanking those tower shots. So I expect that we're probably going to see quite a few of those continuing to come out here.
Yeah. MiSTA waiting for his opportunity. He's got 1 archer out. He's trying to clear up the spearmen, and now he's started attacking that villager, and I don't think that villager can finish the tower, especially with 2 archers there. DeMusliM's going to have to try and buy himself enough time, but if Mista's micro is on point, the villager should go down right here.
Oh, so close. It looks like it's 1 tap away from that villager going down, and you can see he is not very keen on coming back to that outpost. He is...
A little esports head shake right there. Did you see
no,
that?
I didn't see it.
From the Grubby International Dictionary.
Oh,
right there. The Mista pushing him away, and DeMusliM has to run with the villager, and that villager is extremely weak, and the archers are right behind.
Yeah, the outpost does get cancelled behind this. Now, DeMusliM also adding in more spears. Now, I'm curious to see whether we've got that age up and how far along DeMusliM is up to that 2nd age now. Because obviously, Mista, he's up. He's got that school of cavalry. You can see the deer stones coming down. Quite a few villagers on this bad boy as well. So he is looking to get up into that next stage. And I think the question starts, what's the transition for him here? We see the pasture coming down. Is it going to be an archer transition? Are we going to see him move into horsemen together with the spears? What's the play going to be?
Yeah, also the question from me, and I wonder if Mista's going to add in a couple knights as well, just to send them forward and start harassing the exposed eco from DeMusliM. We noticed the villager difference already 27 to 23. So economy for Mista looking pretty good, and the tower is already down. So what has this really accomplished for DeMusliM? It's bought him a little bit of time, but now this forest is going right back across the field, and Mista has the opportunity to go for professional scouts now and start.
And that's the big difference, is that typically you would invest a lot of resources in killing these towers. Often we see players go for a blacksmith, they go for siege engineering, they go for a ram. But in this situation, Mista only opts for scouts. And then on top of that, not only are those units then of significant value, but he can then use them to bring in those deer and look to even potentially take the deer away from his enemy. So such a smart move from Mista to be finding this, to be using it. And in my opinion, it really turns the French versus Mongol matchup on its head and really puts a lot of the power in the French foot.
Like I said, he was super confident in the matchup, and there's the stable from our Mongols player. He's already got a couple pastures near his Uvu, but the archers are already coming across the field here, and he's got scouts to kind of run cover for them in the middle. But once a few horsemen come out, then Mista needs to start thinking about maybe switching into horsemen of his own potentially, or some knights as well.
Yeah, I think that might be a smart move. Once he spots this stable, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a barracks thrown down immediately. Now, keep in mind, he's got professional scouts in queue currently. So I would expect that after he looks to siege down these pastures, he's going to be heading straight to that deer patch and looking to actually take some deer away from DeMusliM here.
Yeah, DeMusliM just says, oh, I'll leave for a second. I'm back. And Mista will start working on that Uvu, and that's a lot of scouts. Like, that's a lot of damage against these buildings. DeMusliM, he has double production, but he can't leave this army alone he can't ignore it for too long.
Yeah, I think it's really important in this position that Mista doesn't overextend his hand. He's got scouts, he's got archers, but at the same time, you've got to be so careful because the Yam network is out. You've got that Khan coming out. It can throw down that movement speed boost, which we see it potentially going to be doing very shortly. And you can see that the cleanup is starting to happen. Yeah,
and Mista did actually add extra horsemen of his own. So he's still got the scouts, and he's got 2 horsemen here. He's trying to take out the spearmen so his cavalry can engage. There's only 1 horseman left over there from DeMusliM, but he still had those spearmen, and he still had the Khan firing from behind. Still, it looks like Mista, with 16 military population, now 14 versus 7, will be clearing up this fight.
Yeah, so it looks like DeMusliM sort of went a little bit earlier, needed to wait for maybe 2 or 3 more horsemen to come out, but now the Mista is going to have more than enough scouts to go and look to potentially take down those hunts of his enemy. And we can see he's really intent on taking out this Uvu as well.
Like, how many scouts do you want left? Because you want them here winning the fights for you, but you also want the ability to go into professional scouts if possible, as we see knights now being added from Mista. So he's going to start maybe raiding on the other sides of the map or bring them forward to this main army.
He's got to be careful, though. It looks like the army, because obviously there's reinforcements that are coming very close in here from DeMusliM. The numbers continue to dwindle for him. We see 3 military population for DeMusliM at this point in time. And the siege is going to continue. I think Mista probably senses there may be blood in the water, and he's looking to try and take him out. So definitely committing to this Uvu, but at the same time, we've seen the villagers come out. They healed up the Uvu. It's going to take a little bit longer, but every second he's out here sieging this Uvu, he's not bringing back those deer. I'd love to know whether he's got scouts behind this that he's actually pulling in his own deer with. So we'll take a look now. He's actually gone and milled
I don't think he got professional scouts there, did he?
Let's take a look. He has picked it up.
Oh, okay.
He's just opted to not take out any of the deer.
He's picked it up, but he hasn't picked it up. Okay, now he's going to the deer patch.
All right, there we go.
With 3 scouts, and he's going to go pick those up. And knights keep coming across, archers keep coming across, and this is an excellent position for him to be sitting in because it's pressuring DeMusliM to engage against this. And this means that the Mongols are not at the French economy. Now, French are producing villagers faster too, so every minute he's not there is an advantage for TheMista.
Yeah, we can see that villager lead already climbing by 6 at this point, but it looks like we might have a potential cleanup finally coming through for DeMusliM. You can see those spears struggling against the horsemen, but once again, Mista just reinforcing non-stop. Now knights coming in, a great mix of horsemen as well as those knights that he's using to combat against the enemy. Khan still in the mix, just firing away. You can see that knight dropping down to pretty low health. He manages to keep it alive though and just cleans up that military mass. Still only 3 military units right now for DeMusliM. He's looking like he might be in a very tough position because behind this, Mista has got a 7 villager lead, professional scouts. He's stealing away the deer from his enemy. He's probably thinking about Castle Age very soon. And DeMuslim's just kind of scratching his head going, what am I going to do?
I think the risk here for Mista is to continue too long onto the night production. You know, you got to make that. You got to have that balance of when you want to go up to the next stage and not overcommit onto something like Knights, because if you're not doing damage to your opponent's eco, there is the potential, especially with Mongols, to suddenly have a big force of spearmen. And if they get a good engagement against your archers, then suddenly the Knights don't feel so useful in this situation.
Yeah, I would expect that we start to see him look to raid. He does have Knights in production at the moment. In fact, it looks like there's 2 Royal Knights and 1 Royal Knight. I'm not sure exactly what that's about, but quite a fair bit of units still coming in here. So definitely sticking to a feudal age play at this point in time. Fair few villagers idle there. He's managed to pick them up though. They're going to be heading towards the middle. There's a nice little berry patch out there, but now posturing down towards the gold. The gold is a little bit further out. There is an outpost down here, but shouldn't be too much of an issue sieging this bad boy down.
Yeah, I think Mista was a little bit housed there for a second too, so maybe a little bit idle on the military production, but the spearmen now coming in, the horsemen trying to catch the archers off guard. The knights need to run away until the spearmen are cleared up by the archers, and 1 knight goes down. The other ones, though, clearing up this army. And now DeMusliM is off of the gold, and that outpost looks awful exposed over there. Mista, though, with limited archer numbers, will run away. Ooh, that eco for DeMusliM. He's got, what, 20 villagers on 1 sheep right there?
It's not looking pretty. Now, DeMuslim's very close up to the castle age. Mista did delay it by getting onto that gold, but there's definitely a window here, Dave, where DeMusliM could look to exploit DeMista. Obviously, as soon as Mista scouts that out, he's going to be looking to get up to the castle age himself, but he is quite behind at this point in time. Not a lot of food income either. So we'll take a look and see how he's doing when it comes to his resources.
I'm just surprised, like, he went for mills on the berries, but he got professional scouts. You know, like, he went for that extra investment, all that walking time to get out there, but he was bringing the carcasses back. Like, why not just keep the villagers under the TC?
Yeah, curious decision. I think this is a consequence of losing all those scouts in the early game as well, because he did get up to about
3, right?
Yeah, he got up to about 7 scouts, and that's, you know, that's the perfect amount to take a hunt. But obviously, losing out 4 of them, with only 3 left, it means you're only bringing back a fraction of the initial deer. But now we continue to see a raid being pulled back and military units being rallied out the wazoo.
Yeah, and also he was taking the carcasses from the other side of the map, and they're super slow coming back. So maybe that factored into his decision making. I don't know if he saw the step readout though. I don't know if he scouted that, because he was still continuing with night production right now. And his food count is just not looking very good at all.
Yeah, I suspect he didn't see it. I think he's definitely playing in the dark right now, and that's going to be a bit of a surprise to him when DeMusliM reaches the next stage. We'll see how he reacts. Looking to turn his attention towards this gold mine. A fair bit of units under this tower. He's going to look to try and do some damage here, sieging down that outpost. A lot of villagers on that gold mine. He can look to idle them out. There's not a lot of gold here.
There's a lot of exposed villagers if DeMusliM doesn't keep his military nearby. Like, holy, this is some opportunities for damage. 1 villager goes down, 2 vills, 3 vills, 4 villagers, 5 villagers here, maybe even 6. That's the 5th.
This is pretty big. Very nice find. Now, obviously, DeMuslim's going to need to find another source of gold. There's one above his base, but at the same time, TheMista looks to remain in control of that area as well. Despite not having any units there, it's not like there's an outpost up there guarding it.
Is that step, has he scouted the gold north of his base? He must have, right? He sees the gold north of his base, and he's shifting all of his military over there. The step readout is going to that location. Mista still investing into into H2 military.
Yeah, we see he's housed at the moment, sitting at 90 out of 90s. Finally just dropped down that house, but he's got a lot of production here. 5 production buildings, 3 of them stables, 2 of them archery ranges, so he is looking to really play it in this second age. I'd be curious to see whether he's dropped down that, well, we know that he's got the blacksmith, but whether he's got that siege engineering just yet, and whether he looks to get an outpost or a battering ram, but huge amounts of villagers going down once again.
That's 5 more, and he's got the French advantage too, so it's 58 villagers for TheMista and 39 villagers for DeMusliM, and Mista is still all in on H2 right here, and it's knights, archers, which DeMusliM just doesn't seem like he has an answer for yet.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I think the play for DeMusliM here is to try and get a bit of a mass going when it comes to lances. But the problem that he's going to have is there's just so many units out for TheMista at this point in time. He's really committing to this second age play. Now looking to come in. You can see those jousts coming out. He is really meaning business.
That's such a big army.
It's an absolutely huge army, very formidable. And keep in mind behind this is just with the villager lead that TheMista's got, it means he's just going to be able to pump out all those extra units. So it's such a difficult position here for DeMusliM.
And he can key in on this gold too, because he knows the step readout's going to take forever to get back to the other position. He knows he cleared that up before, and he can just key in on these villagers. We see the engagement now from DeMusliM. He's going in. TheMista, though, has those melee units in front and has the range units behind. DeMuslim's army is getting completely wiped out here, and TheMista still has a decent-sized force. Just the horsemen going to be left over here for DeMusliM, and he's going to be pushed off that gold once again, and I think we might see the esports resign maybe soon.
Yeah, I'm looking for the head shake right now as we head towards this sort of period after he's lost the gold. He's going to come out bringing an outpost, so he's fighting for his life. He's not throwing in the towel just yet, but he is behind 21 villages, behind 40 military population at this point.
I mean, he went for the greedy approach, going for H3, but I think it was his only hope. After the initial few engagements,
yeah. Yep.
I think the position that TheMista had on his Uvu over the production buildings, kind of denying everything, DeMusliM had to go for something kind of crazy, and it didn't pan out.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem to be panning out at this point in time. More villagers trapped inside this outpost now, and you can see TheMista very intent on burning this down. And keep in mind, behind this, he's still not even looking for that H3. He is really fighting this out in H2 and sticking to it.
Yeah, and it's been working so far. I mean, if it's not broke, why fix it, right? And there we go. There's the resign. TheMista with a little fist bump, the esports fist bump right there.
That's it.
As he takes game number 1, and DeMusliM with a little bit of a head shake as he drops that one. Mongols on King of the Hill, but that's a matchup, like I said. Mista, he really likes that matchup.
This is a really great position for Mista. He's going to be looking incredibly formidable going into the second game. Keep in mind, both players here have banned out Delhi.
Yep.
So the strongest civ that remains for them both is the Mongols. So now Mista has taken out DeMuslim's Mongols. Mista still got Mongols in the bag. So he could potentially look to 2-0 this set before we even really get down to it. So he's in a great position. But what a game there. I mean, demonstrating that was an absolute clinic when it came to defending against the Mongols as the French.
Great game sense, too, to not try and match going up to H3 and to just keep committing, right? I thought it might be dangerous if you keep committing golden food onto the knights, but TheMista proves that as long as he keeps making archers and keeps the archers behind, the spearmen can just never close the distance. They get wiped up, and then the knights can deal with everything else.
Yeah, he played it very well. I was surprised to see that as well. I expected that we would see Castle Age following up very shortly, that he'd try and look to isolate those gold mines, but he just said, you know what, I'm going to go straight for the throat, and it worked. Yeah. All right, game number 2, Dave. Let's have a look and see if we've got a match up. Map is still yet to be decided, but obviously a fair few civilizations that are available, so it is going to be Dry Arabia.
Okay.
All right, so Dry Arabia, the second map here for DeMusliM. So a lot of good options for him. He's got the French available. He's got the Rusts. Do we potentially see an Abbasid here?
We saw Chinese from Leenock.
I think that's the only person you'll ever see Chinese out of on dry Arabia. Yeah, it was an interesting decision.
I think we might see French here. Just a safe pick. Either
Yeah,
Abbasid
French.
or French. Because remember, he played Abbasid the other day, and he went for the 2 TCs with the walls.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, against Viper.
yeah. Yeah, that could work. I'm gonna suspect that we see Mongols come out of the MiSTer, and I suspect DeMusliM will probably look to play English.
Okay.
I think that could work because typically English match up quite well against Mongols. So I suspect that that's probably going to be his counterplay. But then again, MiSTer might know that he's thinking English because he knows that DeMusliM loves to play the English as well.
Mista was talking about Mongols being a viable option on Hillendale against HRE as well. If you know your opponent's going for HRE.
That's a
the
great
second
point.
That's the second home map from DeMusliM.
So maybe the MiSTer looks for Abbasid here potentially.
Maybe we just don't get into the mind games.
Oh, I love
That's
getting
why
into the mind
games are why he banned Abbasid against Leenock. So.
Well, I remember that we asked Leenock about that, like banning Abbasid, or why did he ban Abbasid? And he said, "Oh, because I told him it was a fake.
Yeah.
It wasn't real."
Yeah.
He said that I said Abbasid was the best Civ, but it's not. It's a lie. So very smart from Leenock there with the mind games. But we'll have a look and see if we've got civilizations. Indeed, we do. It's going to be Abbasid up against the English. So MiSTer on the English, DeMusliM on the Abbasid dynasty.
Okay. So how do you punish the 2 TC play as the English?
Go to TC yourself.
Okay, so you don't punish it at all. You punish it with similar eco.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best bet in this situation. And we are seeing more and more commonly that players are looking to go for that second town center as the English.
Yeah.
So I suspect that as the tournament goes on, people are going to be playing more and more safely. So probably going to be seeing that. But if there's a civilization that can pull it off, it is definitely the English. But trying to punish the Abbasid, it's just so difficult. Speaking with MarineLorD last night, he said that the Abbasid are a civilization that can get away with that second TC, and you can't really stop them. The English, he's starting to think so as well.
You can't even really sit on that stone because by the time your military is there, they already have enough stone.
Exactly.
To go for that second TC.
Yeah, they're getting
the only thing you can do really is like hunt out the extra food sources.
Yep. And then it gets even harder if they, put their town center on a berries or on a deer. So, yeah, that is something that we could potentially see. There's obviously other build orders that exist for the Abbasid dynasty. We've been seeing the classic Don Artie build, which is the wheelbarrow into the single stable and then look to transition into a second town center. About 7 minutes. So that is something that we could see. Works quite well against the English. In fact, the MiSTer used that very effectively against Don Artie himself in the qualifiers. So going with that very early stable. Another option is Camel Archers as well.
Yeah. Okay, I think this means this beautiful view here with the excellent posture from DeMusliM and the somewhat unorthodox setup from MiSTer with his hand all the way over there back in Greece. That means that we're probably into the game, and we're just waiting for our lovely observer Vodka to join, and then we can bring you all the action. The MiSTer up 1-0 here over DeMusliM. DeMusliM, the man who took down actually both of these, the guys who took down Viper earlier.
These are the Viper Slayers.
Yeah.
The Cobra Killers.
Yeah.
Actually, Cobra and Viper, they're probably different things, aren't they?
They're in a little bit. You know what? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. They're both snakes, so.
Yeah. All right, looks like we are going to be jumping into the game very shortly. You can see on your screens right now, DeMusliM is currently playing, microing away, tapping away. One of the interesting things to note about DeMusliM is he uses a new keyboard, but it looks like the old school keyboards. So if you've ever seen these, Dave, they're like the classic white keyboard with the grey the grey keys, but it's only some of the keys that are grey. So things like the Control, the Alt key, the Shift key, the caps lock, all of that. It's very, very cool. But you'll have to bear with us at the moment. We are having a little bit of technical difficulty, so hopefully jumping into the game very shortly.
I love the dollar store fans as well.
Oh, yeah.
Just to keep his hands cool.
Yeah, he's got so many of them as well.
I know.
Yeah.
He's got 2 of them set up there.
And I think he's got a third. I remember seeing a blue one as well somewhere. I think he's got a whole backpack.
There we go. There we go, folks. Thank you for being patient with us. We are into the game, and it's English for DeMusliM, and it will be Abbasid. Abbasid for DeMusliM, and Okay, go ahead.
I'll
Go
take
ahead.
over for you, Dave. Now, guys, you might be noticing that on your screen at the moment there's a little bit of lag coming through. We are using player POV at the moment. We're having a bit of technical difficulties behind the scenes. So that's why we're back on your screen at the moment right now. So hopefully we'll get it all sorted out for you shortly. I can see people running around everywhere. But there's going to be a rehost coming. Okay,
Okay.
we've got a rehost coming.
Rehost.
Cool. I mean, that means we didn't miss anything.
I have enough time to get it straight in my mind. TheMista playing English, and DeMusliM playing Abbasid.
Wow.
Wow, there we go. We're just gonna pretend. We're just gonna do the YouTube cut. You're pro on that, right? We'll just cut it for YouTube at the intro of the next match.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just get rid of it. We can say all the TOS stuff now.
Exactly.
All right. So hopefully not too much longer before we head into that game. We can see that the prediction coming through for who will win game number 2 was just going through. It looked like DeMusliM was a pretty heavy favorite there.
I think the way he played Abbasid the other day, I believe it.
Yeah.
I think it's viable, yeah.
Yeah, he looked like he was quite far behind in that game, I remember, but still managed to hold on.
He looked comfortable.
Yeah, really comfortable.
Even though he was behind on the numbers, the way he set up his base with the walls, like the halfway walls with the TCs and everything, he just looked nice and comfortable in his little area.
Yeah. I got to agree with you. I guess one of my favorite things about playing the Abbasid is that their food sources take a little bit longer to exhaust, because not only do you have that bonus when it comes to the berries, but you also have got the cheaper villages. And a lot of people look at that and they think that it's an economic boost because you're reducing the cost of villages. But the way I think about it, it's really not. It's more of a tech bonus. It's more of a military bonus, because you can spend that extra resources on tech or on the military. But if you've got 2 TCs and your enemy's got 2 TCs, you're not really at too much of an advantage when it comes to resources. But yes, it looks like players now are in the game once again, so hopefully we get a observer POV coming through very shortly for you guys. Keep in mind, Mr. is up 1-0 against DeMusliM, and we do indeed enter into game number 2.
And here we go, TheMista playing as English and DeMusliM playing as the Abbasid. I did it perfectly that time. Fantastic.
Indeed, you did. So, yeah, we've got over on the right-hand side of our screen, in the blue trunks, we've got TheMista playing the English, and you can see they're both having a similar scouting pattern here, meeting each other in the center of the map. And I don't know about you, Dave, but I always hate it when I see the enemy scouts so early.
Yeah, especially when he's trailing a sheep and I haven't even found one.
Oh, that's the worst.
It's like, come on,
and
man.
then you spot you know how I call them the triple-double. It's the 3 sheep in 2 patches, and you spot it, and he's just slightly ahead of you, and he gets all of them. Oh, my God.
It's the worst way to start a game, because it just feels like you're behind.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's demoralizing. It's that classic, I'll just give up. Well, let's just go next already. But in a tournament setting, it's just not possible. But TheMista, he's looking strong. DeMusliM looking strong as well. So both players obviously incredibly talented here. But I'm curious what kind of opening we're going to see here from TheMista, because it doesn't look like he's gone for that early English wheelbarrow that we do sometimes see out of them. By the same token, DeMusliM doesn't look to have gone it either.
Mista and DeMusliM had an involved conversation a couple days ago outside, and they were talking about wheelbarrow, and Mista had like this long, 5-minute explanation of how it's not worth it in a lot of situations, and DeMusliM like politely was listening to him, and then he's like, I disagree.
Classic DeMusliM fashion.
Yeah, it was very polite.
Polite enough
great,
to listen and then just no.
Yeah, he's like, I think it's pretty good. I don't know. He's got a lot of sheep, man.
He does. It could be a sign that the wheelbarrow is potentially better. But still yet to see either player looking for that wheelbarrow upgrade at this stage. So just going to be a pretty standard age up here, I suspect. We'll take a look over at DeMusliM's base, and you can see he's got that House of Wisdom coming up. So probably going to be looking to go for an economic wing early, Dave. I think I'd probably
Oh, it would be a meme.
Oh, yeah.
It would be an absolute... I would love it.
Imagine the trade wing.
Oh, my God. I think I did that once.
Oh, gosh.
But it was like on a water map. So
I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Yeah, actually, on water maps, those trade units can be pretty insane. But, yeah, we now see that it looks like a forced drop-off has happened. TheMista going to be dropping down his landmark. It's the Council Hall. I was holding my breath there for a second.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I like this whole theory about the Abbey of the Kings. Obviously, you can't really use it, but players were using it with horsemen.
I think A big thing with Mista, as we've seen, is that he likes players to scout out what he's doing and then have them assume that he's going into something. So Abbey of Kings doesn't really give them much information. Maybe they can assume he's going into Horseman or something, but the Council Hall gives him the opportunity to go into Longbow. Obviously, it's the strongest landmark that they have to go up to the second age. And it also makes them think that he's automatically going into the longbows. And oftentimes he switches that up. He opens Spearman or he opens Horseman.
Yeah, whereas if you open the Abbey of the Kings, well, everybody, I mean, you telegraph to your enemy exactly what you're doing. So, yeah, a difficult position. But now we see DeMusliM, was he potentially just adding a mining camp onto that stone? Let's double check. Yes, indeed he was. So it looks like 2 villages on stone already, dropping it down with a 3rd one there. So probably looking towards that second town center. We'll see if it gets denied, but no real surprises coming out here at this stage. Second town center, sort of to be expected at this point.
And you were thinking that the English would be going on to a second town center. That's the way you thought they might have to play against the 2TC play from the Abbasid. But Mista, not yet on stone.
Not yet on stone. Does look like he has taken his villagers off gold, though, so that's a potential sign of the future. But, yeah, I think that's definitely one of the ways that you can play it. The other is to look to go into fast castle, but typically it can be very difficult playing up against the Abbasid because they've got those swift timings that come in. They've got the 2TC, and if they spot that you're doing a second TC, they might go for a 3rd TC, but then very fortunately you can go up with your King's Palace and sort of equalize. But we'll take a look and see whether that's what we've got. But DeMusliM actually going to be going for a wheelbarrow here.
Wheelbarrow, he's also dropping an outpost near the stones there. He's got 110 stone already, and I talked to him a little bit about it, like the outposts on the scattered resources as Abbasid, because it also adds to your Golden Age, those buildings, and it really helps when you know you're not going to be investing in military early. You're going to be going to those extra town centers, right?
Yeah.
So if you can keep this area secure long enough to get the stone in the bank, then you can get that second TC up to secure something else that you need.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we see DeMusliM is still quite a ways away from that second town center at this point. We're at 5 minutes 20 at the moment. I remember speaking with Mista early on after Age of Empires 4 came out, and he was rushing second town centers with Abbasid, and his world record time was 4 minutes 45 seconds. So you can see that DeMusliM playing it a little bit safer in this situation, delaying it. But now look at that. Mista also going for a wheelbarrow as well.
Yeah, so he's just playing into a couple longbowmen, and he stopped making them. He's just playing a couple to try and poke away at DeMusliM's eco, maybe potentially deny a TC placement in a spot that he feels is important.
Yeah.
And force the TC placement somewhere else.
This is pretty bad for DeMusliM right now, because whilst he does have that outpost up, Mista is clicking on that stone, and he is seeing that only 200 stone's been taken off that. So he can click down there. He can see you don't have enough for a town center yet. So if I stop you, it's going to be bad for you. But he does manage to get enough to go up to the next stage. Interestingly, we've now got stone being collected here by Mista as well. So it could mean that we see a potential outpost coming up where he looks to get arrow slits, or he could be going into a second town center himself.
Archery range stable from DeMusliM.
Looking to play that in H2.
So even if he gets the stone, I mean, my man's not going to have wood for a while for a second town center. So, and he's hiding them behind the TC too. So DeMusliM wants to surprise Mista's army here with army of his own, but Mista completely cut production. So there is a window for DeMusliM to do damage. It just the question is how fast does he produce and how much does he produce?
And now we see it looks like it's going to be archers. So not even opting for camel archers in this situation, just going for straight archers.
I don't think he has the res for camel archers here.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think this is actually a very big brain move here from Mista, because I'm not sure if you saw, but there was a lot of villagers on stone back in his base. So we might even potentially see Mista look to get ahead in the TC game up against the Abbasid, and that's a position you never want to be as Abbasid, behind on the TCs.
And I wonder what he does as soon as he sees this first horseman, because he didn't spot the stable at all. He's going to see the horseman now, and his heart rate is dropping. So did he know this is coming?
Classic
I'm sure if we
Mista.
ask him later, he'll be like, yeah, I knew everything. I played it out of my mind.
He's done really well so far to delay that second town center. I think that's really what it's about, because if you can delay that second town center, obviously you're delaying the villages being created as well, forcing your enemy out to make those extra military production buildings is so strong for you. But we see those cute little palings coming out there on the wood line as well. And now it looks like he's going to be coming around down towards the south and look at a little bit of damage on the raid, but he's playing up against English. And if there's anything that you know about the English, it's they have very tight bases.
And there's the other town center. It's going to be able to protect that gold, protect the farming, protect the wood line as well. And of course, he's got the council hall to produce units, and it's just 2 horsemen. So there's not much damage to be done right now as DeMusliM has cut production completely.
The difficult spot for DeMusliM now is that I think he might have got his second town zoner up behind this, and indeed he has. It looks like it's on berries. Is that you can't punish this English town center. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Just simply because of how many arrows it shoots. The English have a lot of bonuses available to them when it comes to defending. One of the biggest ones is the town center fires double the amount of arrows. And that is not just the capital town center, that's every town center. So you chuck in 10 villages in that bad boy, it's going to fire like crazy.
So DeMusliM is paying half price for his villagers, but TheMista still with a 1 villager lead. He got the second TC up earlier, and now DeMusliM is going to those external berries. And I love the fact that he town-centered those berries. I love having extra access to food as Abbasid, because a lot of times when you're dropping the farms, you lose momentum in the transition period. Having those extra food sources is so important.
And that's one of the big things when it comes to dropping those farms. And even though DeMusliM is paying a cheaper price for his villagers, Mista's got incredibly efficient food sources right now. He's got that wheelbarrow in. He's got plenty of farms dropped down, and he's continuing to add them. We can see both players now working towards Castle Age. So a fair bit of scouting coming out, spotting it out. And now we see that third town center.
This is very reminiscent of the game he played before.
That's exactly it. Now, Mista's going to be able to match this, and he's going to be able to go up to the third age himself and match that third town center. So he's not going to be at any sort of disadvantage. And I suspect this, as the tournament continues to go on, this is exactly the style that we're going to be seeing here, because players realize the English second town center is so difficult to stop, so difficult to deny, so difficult to punish.
But if you think about investment into economy, I mean, even with 3 TCs, he's paying less for villager production than the 2 TC from Mista. So if he ever gets this eco up and running, it could be very dangerous. And Mista now going for a wall on the side there. And he's got a wall. Is he penning in the stone? Is he going to keep it as a pet?
This is really... okay, I think what's happened is he wanted to get this wall up here.
Yeah, and then he decided this one is better.
Yes, because he doesn't need the berries. He doesn't need the stone. Because as the English, typically you wouldn't even bother taking the berries because you don't need to, just simply because your farms are so much better. Now we see that third town center in the form of a King's Palace getting dropped down for Mista. So both players entering onto 3 TCs, as we suspected would be happening in this matchup. And now look, we've got a culture win coming through. So both players neck and neck at this point, Dave.
Even with wheelbarrow.
Yeah. Both players wheelbarrow, both players 43 villages. This is intense.
I mean, well, it's intense in that we can compare the numbers. There hasn't been much fighting involved in the middle. It's been a chess match, if anything, as Mista pulls back some of those vills, and DeMusliM just wants to keep map presence with the horsemen. Lots of farming eco, beautiful farming economy set up in the back there, though.
This is one of the things I love about the English, just this farming economy. It's so safe.
Yeah.
And so affordable, so easy to transition into. For a lot of the other civilizations, putting down 75 wood farms.
There's a window that people can punish you, right? And that's what makes the English so strong.
There is no window. They close it because they're just constantly adding them in at half price. And so they never really notice it. They're always just making those farms, and you can just add them in willy-nilly whenever you've got a little bit of extra resources.
So there was a stable at the back from the Mista, and then there was double barracks being positioned at the left side of DeMusliM's base. So we've got an outpost coming up in the middle. DeMusliM's going to be heading into infantry, and the Mista, with only 1 stable, will probably be adding some cavalry there, and there's the first horseman on the field for him. Yeah,
it looks like he's going to make a little bit of an overextension here. Just a couple horsemen and a scout out in the middle. Going to be able to pick up these longbowmen. Unfortunately for Mista, throwing away a couple of units. But you got to wonder what the point of this was. What was the purpose? Because he knew there was cavalry out.
Yeah.
He'd been raided by it multiple times.
Yeah, I think he just didn't expect the cavalry to be here or something. This is very strange that these longbows just he gave up on them.
Yeah. But now veteran longbows also coming through, so that even makes me question even more.
It's even worse.
Yeah, he's just throwing away units and investing in them at the same time.
Maybe he threw those away so he could get the outpost up.
Potentially, and which, by the way, is an amazing outpost. That outpost is really good. Sitting inside that stealth forest, it's going to be very hard to target it down. You might not even know that it's there.
DeMusliM now adding, is that a 4th barracks back there? 5th barracks, maybe? No, 4 barracks, 1 stable, and 1 archer range.
Yeah, a lot of infrastructure going down, and then up towards the top of the town center. Even more going down up here. So he's really looking for this timing, and this is the exact timing that Mr. needs to be very careful of. Because remember earlier I spoke about how as the English, if you're making the villages out of the town centers, you're paying full price for them. As the Abbasid, you're not having an economic bonus, but you are building up this extra store of food.
Yep.
That food is now going to be converted into men-at-arms, into archers, and it's really he's going to look to try and take control with an early push here in the castle age.
I think Mista had something in the stealth forest back near those berries where DeMusliM was going to expand to in the far right, in the far left corner, I believe. And I think he's expecting DeMusliM to expand out to those berries in the left corner.
Left.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll get there. But there we go. It looks like it was a scout, so the scout spots it. So could potentially see a men-at-arm come through here, look to do a bit of damage. But we've now got veteran horsemen coming through as well for him. But take a look at DeMusliM, researching phalanx. So it's going to help out his spears significantly.
And he's got 6 barracks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is going to get really intense really quickly here, and TheMista is going to have to find an answer.
It's going to get worse before it gets better for TheMista. And nice little cleanup back there, but we now see those military forces beginning to build for DeMusliM. He's sitting on 17, Mr. also on 17. That outpost is now a stone outpost in the middle of the map.
Yeah, and he's got another one down here, and he had one at the top, too.
Yeah.
Look, he's building one at the top. He's just going to have a line of defenses, an early warning system.
Can we jump into the POV of TheMista and just get an idea of exactly what that line of sight is looking like? And, oh, this is going to be absolutely
It's beautiful. It's
yeah.
actually beautiful.
Here we go now, picturing what we see for TheMista. You can see that he's got that little face going there. He's probably tacking away on the keyboard, but at the same time, look on his minimap, just absolute line of sight everywhere, Dave.
Yeah. And we can kind of see what he's playing. He's even going for a wall at the bottom there. Like, he's taking full map control here. He's like, okay, you're going to boom up your economy. I know you're 3 TC. I'm basically 3 TC. You're paying less for villagers, but while you're sitting back and building up, I'm going to take full map control, and I'll know exactly what you're doing it before you're even at my base.
Yeah, really good stuff from him, but I'm looking forward to seeing how he's going to be able to handle this push. Keep in mind this push from DeMusliM. It's going to be coming out shortly, I suspect, and he is playing the Abbasid, so it means he's going to have access to building mangonels in the field. It means he's going to have access to dropping down springlords if he needs to at a heartbeat. He's going to be able to have these guys down, but we can see that the mass now beginning to build for him.
This is what he needs to worry about, though. I mean, he can have all the vision in the world. He can see his own death coming from a million miles away, essentially, as that's a massive army building there from DeMusliM. 45 military population, only 30 military population for TheMista, and DeMusliM is still 6 villagers ahead.
Yeah, so this is exactly where it comes in. All that extra food that Mista has been spending on villagers, DeMusliM has been putting it into his men-at-arms. You can see he's got 21 men-at-arms at the moment, 16 archers. So he's got a huge amount of units, and he's going to be looking to really punish Mista here. His window is in the next 3 to 4 minutes. Ideally, he wants to avoid Mista getting up to the Imperial Age, because if he does, he's going to have access to that enclosures technology, which just gives him so much longevity.
Yep.
But now we see a bit of a fight beginning to break out, Dave.
And DeMusliM is perfectly happy to engage this one-on-one, and Mista says, I'm out, as he sees all of the army there from DeMusliM taking out that outpost. He's going to pick away with the longbows. Unable to take a straight-up fight, though. Still only 38 population there from TheMista. We have 61 from DeMusliM. That's a good counter raid in there from the cavalry, and he's got getting a lot of good picks on the woodline, and DeMusliM just now noticing that's probably 4 or 5 villagers that will go down. I only see one body, though. How did they not kill more than that?
Because they're horsemen, Dave. They barely scratch their enemies, unfortunately.
I was sure they were going to kill at least more than one.
Had they been knights, you probably would have referred him to the Geneva Convention, but unfortunately in this situation, it is not the case. But now those mangonels really starting to build 3 mangonels out on the field, so gets that huge military mass, and now the push begins. Once he's out on the field, he drops down those mangonels. See the Springwood coming out there as well. Springwood Tower going to be coming out as well for the Mista.
Good siege follow-up behind this. The infantry comes in. We've got some horsemen in the front there. The Mista building up an army behind. And he's got the longbows there to defend. He may have full vision of the army, but like I said before, there's nothing he can do to take back this middle area just yet.
Yeah, this is really tough for him. He's going to be trying to hold on here. You can see in his production queue, a lot of horsemen are being queued up right now, and he's trying to delay this with sprinkled outposts, but just not having a lot of luck. You can see just how much siege is coming out here for DeMusliM. He's looking very strong as he adds in another sprinkled now. So we see those 3 mangonels, the 2 sprinkleds. It's really a beautiful number, and still yet to see any sprinkles coming out for the Mista other than the emplacement.
Mista's trying to do 2 things at once. He's trying to bank res to go up to the next age, and he's trying to produce military. And it's a really tough line to toe there. Like, it's really, really difficult to judge how much you should invest into each. He's been at the 1,000 food and like 700 gold for the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, and he's making the correct play. The problem is it's coming too soon, this push. As I mentioned earlier, there's a window here that DeMusliM knows he needs to push, and that's exactly why he's coming now, because if the Mista gets up to Imperial, he's going to be easily able to hold with the Berkshire Palace.
There's the keep there from DeMusliM, taking control of that wood line, slowly pushing forward. The Mista still hanging out near his town center, and he's got these horsemen running around, distracting DeMusliM a little bit, and probably going to go try for some more raids, but he has to be worried about these 3 sprinkleds, 3 mangonels. Man-at-arms here, he's got some spearmen here, he's got cavalry mixed in, I believe he's got crossbows mixed into that army.
You know, something I just noticed, Dave, I'm pretty confident those men-at-arms, they swing their swords depending on how fast they're walking. So if they're walking slow, they swing slow. If they're walking fast, they swing fast. And because he had them grouped with mangonels, he was walking extra slow, so they were swinging extra slow. But hopefully we pick that up a little bit later, because we've got ourselves a little bit of an engagement here. You can see the Springles just firing off towards those horsemen, and horsemen now looking towards a raid on that backside. We mentioned earlier that we might see a men-at-arm in there, but speaking of men-at-arms on the front line, there's a little bit of an issue going on for the Mista.
Yeah, the Mista is being pushed, and a couple of his landmarks are even at the front there. As he clears up a couple villagers at the back, berries, and DeMusliM's going to have to get his food eco sorted out. We can see the income per minute in favor of the Mista. He's investing all of it into army at the moment, and DeMusliM is forced to go for some extra farms as his food sources run out. But right now, still with the bigger army, still providing pressure onto the Mista's base. Has to be worried about the horseman raids, though. He can't take his eyes off that. That's very dangerous in the back if he doesn't notice this.
Yeah, he does manage to spot it. Mista doing the right thing here, trying to split the attention, but the issue is that he's only got 3 landmarks. He's lost the first one. Yep. The second one's being sieged right now.
And the third one is right there. So
it's not looking pretty right now for Mista. He knows he needs to try and break this. We see 8 horsemen in the queue.
He has
8
enough
longbows.
for a keep, though.
And a keep potentially going down, but not only that, but there's also a keep coming down here for DeMusliM as he waltzes into the middle of the army trying to take out those mangonels. I can't see too many left. There might be one underneath that keep, but the men-at-arms going to be looking to come down onto the south side of that force. Huge amounts of longbows still back here, focusing down these men-at-arms. Plenty of outposts back there. Take a look at that, Dave.
Yeah, I love those outposts positioned back there from the Mista. He's drawn a line in the sand. He says, "You shall not pass," and we'll see if that comes to fruition. It looks like he came in with the cavalry from the other side, sniped the remaining siegers, sniped some of it at least. He's still diverting attention from DeMusliM to the back of his base, where he keeps raiding the villagers. Landmark almost destroyed. It's burning right now.
It's burning. It's burning. It's under attack. And at the same time, we've still got those villager kills. But look at DeMusliM. His villager numbers are still absolutely fine. So he's got 107. It is slowly trickling down. A pretty decent raid here for Mista. He's going to be happy with this.
Look at his food per minute. The raids have been really effective from the Mista. He's down to 330.
Huge villager kill right there, trying to put down the keep. Unfortunately, loses a lot of villagers. More mangonel shots. You can see those villagers trying their best to get that keep up. They're going to be, unfortunately, going down before they can get inside. And Mista loses 20 villagers in the space of a few seconds.
Oh, my goodness. I looked a couple seconds ago, and he was up at, what, 113 villagers, and now he's at 93. That was absolutely devastating. I don't even believe he finished the keep over there.
It was very, very close, and the keep did actually get up.
Okay, the keep did get up. Okay.
So he manages to hold, but keep in mind that his town center is underneath there. So if he wants to get that back up, he's going to have to take down the keep first. Trebuchets have come out. We see another keep getting thrown down here from DeMusliM. He's looking incredibly strong, and he smells that blood in the water.
Yeah, he smells the blood, but I think if he looks up at his resources, he also might sense that this push can't last forever. He doesn't have enough food in the bag. He's only stocking gold right now, so he's got to be very careful. He's done a great job with the 2 keep-in placements here and keeping the siege behind, but he can't toss away his military recklessly.
Yeah, he's got to be really careful to do that. You can see the longbows here just sitting back, holding on. Now, keep in mind, those landmarks are on the front here, so there could be at any point.
Oh, there's a keep in the middle from Mista.
Really smart move here, Dave.
Wow. Okay, so he just went around the army and got himself another fortification there. There's a, is that the 3rd keep there?
There's a lot of keeps coming down. I think this might be the 4th keep coming down here. This is almost, I feel like we're entering into keep wars.
Yeah, it's a line of castles straight across the map, and the Mista spotted that, and he probably was able to kill a few villagers there. 108 villagers for DeMusliM, 98 villagers for the Mista, and DeMusliM is slowly increasing his food count, but you can see from the production queue alone, like, he hit that wall and he hit it hard as he manages to... Did he deny that keep?
I think he
did.
Has. Yeah, that's a doubt keep right there, my friends. Now, I'm curious to find out, just in the base of the Mista, which town center is his capital? Is it this one on the front line?
I think it is that one.
It's that one, okay.
Oh my god.
This could be bad for him, because if DeMusliM realizes and pays all of his attention towards these 2 buildings, he could end the game without even taking a fight.
And it looks like that's what he's trying to do. Horseman again in on another keep. Wait, that's the 5th keep for him?
That's a lot of keeps going down, and he's not even playing the French, which is typically the civilization that's going to be making lots of keeps because of their guild hall. That keep does actually get up, and you can see he's healing it up with that unique bonus or unique technology, and I think we might have an Imperial Age coming
it's
through.
a landmark rush here. He's got 2 rams behind. I think he knows.
Oh, this isn't good right now, but there is an Age 4 coming through for somebody. I'm not sure exactly who it is. I think it might be DeMusliM. We'll take a look at his House of Wisdom and see. No, it's the Wingard Pass.
That's way far away, too.
It's super smart move here. This guarantees that he stays alive and also puts him up to the next age. And interestingly, in the series before this, we actually saw Leenock going for the Wingard Palace. So this is going to be the 2nd English game we're seeing it today coming up. This is massive.
Yeah, and I think the Mista is going to let DeMusliM invest into this push. He's going to let him invest into the all-in towards the landmarks. He's going to have that Imperial Age landmark over there. And I think while this is going on, he'll pick away at the edges. He'll keep raiding, keep clearing up stuff like the rams here, send the longbows over to the wood line, and then he can pull his focus back to that main push once DeMusliM has kind of shot his shot at the middle of his economy.
I have no idea how he does it, it just leaves me speechless, really. It's so difficult to play up against this kind of style. And you can see that DeMusliM currently sits on 200 population, or 195 out of 200, whereas Mista's only on 127, and yet it kind of looks like it's almost even at this point.
But that's a lot of siege. Like, even if he takes out these landmarks, even if he doesn't defeat the Mista, he can get into that farming eco behind. It's an open base now. I mean, this is going to be heavy damage coming into his economy, but I believe he can weather the storm, and I'm not sure if Mista has enough to take out this big ball of siege.
Look at the mangonels that are starting to build up now as well for DeMusliM. This is looking reminiscent of Beastyqt's game earlier in the tournament. There's a lot of mangonels out here.
Yeah, the keep is the only thing keeping him away from the rest of the economy. The longbows are over there picking off the villagers. There is a keep there, though, from DeMusliM. 2nd keep going up in the middle there from Mista. What army is he building, though? His eco, his res bank is basically nothing.
Yeah, I think it's basically just the Wingard army is, I think, what it's called. It's that 1 trebuchet, 1 knight, 1 men-at-arms, 1 longbowman. I think there's also a spearman in there as well.
Now there's a trebuchet in there.
Yeah.
Oh, did you mention that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You get a nice little trebuchet for free as well. Well, it's not really for free. You got to pay for it, but you get it at a great discount.
It's a great price.
Yeah, it really is. But we can continue to see that DeMusliM is just adding in more mangonels.
9 mangonels.
I feel like that's
probably enough. Yeah. I think that's enough for basically anything.
Yeah, I think once you get to 9 mangonels, you can one-shot everything in the game.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll see if he looks to add any more, potentially do the classic double-digit beastie move, but we'll see how he plays it out. But it's looking like a really difficult position here for Mista to get back into this game. He is down a significant amount of military.
Yeah, there go the farms. Oh my goodness, all the farms wiped up there. The horsemen are coming around behind. The Mista is still at 92 villagers. DeMusliM at 105. He's got a hold on the middle there with those 2 keeps, but still hasn't managed to do significant damage to DeMuslim's economy, and still does not have the army to take out this massive siege push in the middle.
Yeah, and this is exactly it. Like, when you think about the push that happened, we identified the 3 TCs coming down for both players. I think Mr. played it perfectly. The issue was that he wasn't able to defend that push that came in. So I think what would have been really helpful for him would have been an early keep, try and look to defend his position a little bit better, but unfortunately, it wasn't to be.
He is raiding a little bit. He's got horsemen in on the wood line. I believe he was on some farms earlier, but DeMusliM is just kind of sniffing around. He's like, where is that other landmark? Let me know.
Yeah.
Tell me, where is it? Because I'm going to get there eventually.
I'd love to take a look at his point of view and see if we can find out whether he spotted that landmark. It doesn't look like he's got any units up there at this point in time, so he's not going to have too much of an idea. He's chasing away those raids, being hit multiple positions. You can see the attacks just going off everywhere. Villagers out here trying to take down those battering rams as well. And Mr. really hanging on this game.
Yeah, and if you're in DeMuslim's position, you're fine if the raids are just horsemen.
Yes.
You're absolutely fine. You're playing Abbasid. You can just make a few spearmen. You can even ignore it sometimes or have a singular keep. And it's not really bothering you all that much. Just keep most of your focus in with this siege push. And he's going to get over near this keep. And I think behind that keep is where the Wingguard Palace is.
Yeah, and you can see now another keep going to be going down right on top. I think Mr. realizes how important it is to keep this bad boy alive. It's a beautiful landmark. It's unfortunate that it's getting covered up by that keep. It's really nice to look at, but look at these mangonels.
Would it be possible for Mista to go for a landmark rush now? An all-in? If you know he can't transfer this stuff over there.
Yeah, definitely. I think that would definitely be an option.
Because all you have to kill is the House of Wisdom and the town center.
Yeah, that's true. It's only 2. And how many keeps are back there defending that position? It doesn't look like
there's only 1.
Yeah, I don't even. There's nothing actually even close to it. So that's a good point. He could potentially look to go for that.
It would be a YOLO
trade.
play. It would be 100% YOLO, but he's getting the trebuchet.
He's got the trebs. Oh my God, Dave! I think you might have called it. We could potentially see a little bit of a base trade come in here.
Like if he lets DeMusliM think that he's safe with that siege ball. Ooh, but there's so much army back here for DeMusliM.
There really is a lot of units back here, and I don't think, have we got any elite upgrades yet for the Mista? Clicking on the Men-at-Arms. These are still Vanguard Men-at-Arms. These are Age 1 Men-at-Arms. Doesn't have the Age 2, doesn't have the Age 3.
They're trying their best.
They're trying their best.
They're trying their best, man.
That's true, but a big raid coming in down towards this south position. That gold mine definitely going to be looking a lot less healthy now. And we continue to see just raids coming through.
Look at the walls debated DeMusliM. He's like, oh, there must be something back here.
Is there a Wingguard Palace back here?
On either side.
But now looking to drop down a keep. Now, typically in this situation, you'd expect the villagers not to be able to get that up, but those are only horsemen that are taking out that keep, so or taking out those villagers. So don't be too afraid if it does go up. And it looks like it is going to be, oh, it's close. Those horsemen actually doing a lot of work, despite only being veteran.
It's going to deny the keep here.
I think he gets it.
Denied?
That's a lot of villagers lost.
And
82
look at the
villagers.
villager count. 90 villagers for the Mista, 81 for DeMusliM. This is crazy, man. He's going to lose more villagers on that wood line. What is the big ball of siege doing? Is it coming back towards the middle of the map there? It is. Oh. Or no, he can't decide. He can't make up his mind what he wants to do.
Why are they all moving so slowly? What's going on with this siege? This is the problem when you group everything up together. They all decide to move extra slow. But it looks like that push is still going to be happening out in that position. We see the trebs, triple treb now coming through. And if Mr. somehow manages to win this game, I tell you what, Dave, I'm going to eat my shoe.
What kind of shoes you got? You have comfy slippers on, though.
Well, are you saying that they're easier to eat than steak?
Dip those in a little bit of hot sauce, and I think you're fine.
Be more worried about the hot sauce. But these raids just keep coming through. And I think the consequence of not building walls is really starting to come out here. He over-chopped his wood line. He let all of those horsemen through. And it's just been...
I think he's going for the House of Wisdom now. I think he's going to make a push for it.
You reckon? There's a lot of trebuchets back here. You can see that the mangonels just hanging out in the middle of the map. Battering rams looking to try and make their worth or in the center there, but he is indeed posturing towards this position.
Yeah, I didn't realize how many buildings were in between.
He's focusing it down.
He's hitting it, and he's hitting the starting town center.
He's hitting it.
With the Trebs. Oh my goodness, this would be a giga brain play from the Mista to just kind of distract, let his base die, give himself the opportunity to go after this.
This is big. He could actually do this. Now, there's a lot of health on that House of Wisdom. Keep that in mind. I think there's about 17,000 health on that Imperial House of Wisdom. Indeed, there is.
But like, if you're shooting from this far away, if you're DeMusliM, you're not actively realizing this is happening because the Trebs are not on the same screen.
And that's exactly, it's that whole classic, the boy who cried wolf with the attack
And you're
signal.
busy with this stuff.
There's so much going on for him, he just doesn't even realize. He could just be sitting there, you know, with no idea going on and potentially lose this game. But now we see those trebuchets having to fall back. It does seem like he does pay attention and works it out eventually. You can see those men-at-arms and the spears chasing away.
It was a dream. And the dream might die here pretty soon as DeMusliM brings the siege back over, takes out the keeps in the middle, moves the infantry over there. So defending calmly.
Defend calmly. Defend calmly. Indeed. But now we see elite upgrades starting to come through for DeMusliM. Keep in mind, no elite upgrades through for the Mista. Still working with his Dark Age men-at-arms, unfortunately. But we can see that battering rams are just absolutely doing work towards this position. And that is a massive amount of units.
That is a huge... Look at his military count right now. 106. Yeah. It's absolutely insane, and it's all grouped together here. He's going for another keep to secure the middle of the map. He's going to try and clear up these trebuchet. I think it's 4 trebuchet now from the Mista. I think he dipped below 40 heart rate, too.
So he's got him right where he wants him, don't worry.
Exactly.
But yeah, it looks like both players have a pretty comfortable heart rate at the moment. That may be bugged. We will seek clarification a little bit later. Don't worry, fellas. But you can really see that he's setting up camp out towards this position, and he manages to hold and fend off that army. Now, keep in mind, Mista's economy behind this isn't really that hampered. He didn't lose a huge amount of villages. He's still sitting on 80, despite losing his
he lost
King's
a lot
Palace.
of land.
Correct.
He lost a lot of map control. He didn't lose a lot of villagers, and he killed a lot of villagers with the raids, but he can never really engage this army because he hasn't teched in anything that can.
Yeah, I'd love to take a look at the upgrades that we've got here on this army as well. So it looks like those men-at-arms are elite. They've been upgraded. You can see the 8 ranged armor on those bad boys, and there's just so many of them. How do you even deal with that many?
Yeah. I don't have an answer. Not with the current state of Mista's army.
Oh, if we took the mangonels from DeMusliM and gave them to Mista, then you could deal with it.
Yes.
But unfortunately, that is going to be a pipe dream because we now see DeMusliM continuing to clean up this position over towards his base. The trebuchet is just firing off, actually taking out a Springald. So potentially, do we have shattering projectiles? Are we able to check the Siege Workshop and see if we've got shattering projectiles
on the gold
through for our English player yet? We'll have a look now. Doesn't look like it. But plenty of trebuchets in the center of the map, and I love the way that they're positioned here, just underneath these 2 keeps.
This might be a last-minute run. He's going for that keep. Okay,
Logan,
confirm, we do have shattering projectiles there.
Logan, what are you doing? Get out of here. That's a good boy if you've ever seen one.
Logan's cheering. Who's Logan cheering for?
He's got to be a Mista guy.
Yeah, he wants the run to succeed, and we may see, like, all the army is up here from DeMusliM. The Trebs are in the middle. There's a clear path to go set up to attack that.
Yeah.
I think if you're at, 140, he's at 148 pop, but I think if you're at 64 villagers, you're thinking, what can I do possibly to win this game? Maybe a sneak attack.
Just pull everything.
Yeah.
Just pull everything and go for the throat.
Yeah.
We've seen it plenty of times before. I remember watching a game, I think it was Donati versus Casper. He did the exact same thing. We saw Casper with 130 villagers straight to the landmarks of Don, and Don was playing the Abbasid as well, so it's definitely a possibility we could see Mista look to do something like that, but he's got a huge amount of units looking to try and take control of this northern position. The hand cannoneer is going to be coming out as well. It looks like he's still working with veteran longbows, though. Dave, I don't know if he's going to be able to do this.
Yeah, he's pulled all the army this way, and I'm wondering if he can clear this up. The hand cannons need to back up now. The longbows, like you said, are not fully upgraded, and he's still losing eco in the back. I just want to know what he's going to do with those trebuchet. Does he have an idea to go in?
Well, he's under attack towards that position, but you can see all those trebuchets slowly building up. Just without that line of sight there. not going to be able to fire down. And you can see he's actually microing this quite well, keeping alive those hand cannoneers and working towards that English network of castles. But now we start to see splits happening out from DeMusliM. He's heading into the food line. Trebuchet's back here, going to be looking to throw down a little bit of support on those infantry units, but it doesn't look like it's going to be too much. Look at all those Trebuchets down there, Dave.
Yeah, he's got an army of trebuchets in the middle. He's got an army of trebuchets at home as well, but now his economy is being raided even more. 57 villagers for him. At one point it was equal at 90 a couple minutes ago, but now the economy from TheMista going down, the farms being hit, and DeMusliM shifting all of his stuff over to the south, and he's replaced more keeps. He's probably built 10 keeps this game, if not more.
Yeah, there's been a huge amount of keeps that have came out this game. But yeah, DeMusliM still looking very stable. You could see his resources starting to climb. Yet TheMista, with half the population, still manages to hold on. DeMusliM just having a lot of trouble closing out this game.
Yeah, well, do you blame him? I mean, like, there's been so much misdirection, armies attacking at all different sides. Like, the last landmark was on the opposite side of the map. Like, it's just a game where you're kind of hampered by the speed of your siege ball.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He's gone for an immobile army. That's a lot of trebs.
But that's a big army too.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the day that we just see 10 trebuchets just one-shot that entire army.
Oh,
from
see
downtown.
you later, Mangonel.
That was 3 points. That had to be.
Yep.
That was absolutely huge. If he could set that up, he could make something work. That shattering projectiles, you got to watch out for it. It is incredibly strong with these English trebuchets. We will continue to watch him unfold these trebs, potentially looking for more victims.
He's going for the three-pointers, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's going for it with the outposts in front of these, too.
This is smart.
Imagine if he, like, we're in the 4th age now, so imagine if he sets up, like, a stone wall in front, the trebs within range of the House of Wisdom with the TC.
Wow.
And stone walls around, and you just start slinging, basically.
Look how many trebs he's got. This is absolutely crazy. I'd love to see from him just a creep forward, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
You know, we see that outpost coming down now. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's just got to be so careful not to lose these. Now going to be focusing down these infantry. Let's see if he manages to make... Oh, I don't know if he can hit anything just then, Dave.
Yeah, and he needs... Now he needs army in front because DeMusliM is coming in. And, oh, look at that. DeMusliM is in the farming eco at the back with range units. And DeMuslim's keeping just enough here to prevent those trebs from going forward. Good connections, though.
He's getting great connections. The main issue, I think, is the trebuchets just don't do much damage to infantry.
Yeah, I would think like a rock falling from like 200 feet up in the air would do more.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah.
But it turns out, no, it doesn't. But, yeah, I mean, great job of shutting down the economy here of Mr. Mr. down to 42 villages. And we continue to see him pushing forward. I think the crazy thing is that even though we can see DeMusliM so far ahead, he realizes that he's on the edge. If he lets these trebuchets even have just 60 seconds alone, he loses.
I'm surprised he's letting them get this close, to be honest. He's nervous about getting hit, but like he has the eco to reproduce those units. He shouldn't be nervous about those units at all. He's got 11,000 food in the bag. He's got 4,000 gold, and he's just camping on the farms from TheMista. Don't even give him this opportunity. Let's say this is a 5% chance. You can make it a 0% chance here.
Correct.
And look, he's within range.
He's going for it. You can see the health on that town center. He's focusing it down. This could be it, ladies and gentlemen.
What is happening here? Where is the army from DeMusliM?
The town center is going to go down. That's going to leave him with one landmark. Keep in mind, if that second landmark goes down, that is going to be it. You can see DeMusliM getting caught a little bit out of position here. The trebuchets continuing to unfold.
They're attacking the House of Wisdom.
House of Wisdom getting taken down. We could see a Mr. Victory here. You can see DeMusliM going to be moving up. Keep in mind, he's playing the Abbasid. He doesn't have that force march like the Delhi do.
He's trying to repair his town center, too. He's trying to repair his town center. There's no way that's going to be in time if all of these trebs are blocked. He's coming in with the infantry. One trebuchet is down. Another one is unpacking. He's going to be repairing the House of Wisdom behind this. Is he going to be in time? The House of Wisdom is on fire.
No way.
It's on fire.
He's going for it. This could be it. This is going to be it. They're coming in. Oh.
And the town center is up again.
No way.
Is it complete, though? Look at TheMista looking at the screen.
Oh, he did it!
Takes
He won the game!
He takes it!
Holy shit! What the hell? If his heartbeat is not above 60,
look at him! Look at that face! 40 villagers, Strongo! 40 villagers! 7 trebs and a dream.
Wow. All right. All right. What a game.
I'm so glad you were here with me.
Jeez.
Also, can I bring up the fact that I called that at like 30 minutes?
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah. Whew. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to need a quick breather after that one.
What was that, dude?
Wow. Okay. So I don't know how we top that game. We can all go home now, I guess.
Yeah,
Like that,
I guess so.
That's pretty much it. Whew. Okay. Trebuchets are good, hey?
They're pretty good. I like it.
I can't believe. So, if DeMusliM had pulled the villagers that were healing the town center and brought them onto the House of Wisdom instead, he would have been healing it and then could have potentially taken down the Trebs.
I think it's even before that, though.
I'm shaking,
I think
Dave.
it's the
I'm shaking.
fact you have 11,000 food and you have 4,000 gold. You're all over your opponent's eco, and you're not just trying to take trades against him and outproduce him, win the war of attrition. Like, keep your sure you're getting one or two village or units dead to trebuchet shots. Fine, whatever. You can reproduce those. Make more production buildings. Send them in.
Yeah.
Just prevent the treads from getting there. Eventually, you're going to wipe up all of his economy. He's not expending any effort protecting it whatsoever. It's all in on that rush. You should be all in on defense. Unless it never even triggered in his mind that he could die like that.
Yeah, it can be something that's very difficult to spot, especially playing the Abbasid, the only civilization that's got those two landmarks. Are you looking at my shoes?
I'm looking at your shoes.
Get the hot sauce.
Yeah, we got DeMusliM's POV here and the final moments, and he's got his army over there. He's not really looking at what's happening. He pulls the military this way, which I think is a massive mistake. He's focused on killing the farm eco.
Yep.
He's feeling good about himself, sorting out his own economy. He sees how much production he has. Look at how much villagers he had queued. Like, cancel.
Let's get those out of here.
And then I think there's a moment here where he pulls the army back when he gets attacked. He's like, oh.
He's thinking about trading as well.
He's going to look back and be like, oh. Yep, right there.
Now he sees the Trebs. He's like, okay, that's fine. They're just trebuchets. They don't do too much. I'm not fussed about those. His army. Look at these. Look where his army is right now. It's just completely out of position.
Oh my goodness, dude. I cannot believe that situation, and I think this is the moment coming up right here where he's not going to be able to believe it either. We're fast forwarding a little bit through the game. We're trying to get there before we get into game number 3, and there we go. There's the town center going down. He pulls all the villagers to defend it. He's pulling his military back, and he's going to go for a dive against the Trebs, but I think he even underestimated the range on those trebuchets.
He doesn't even realize at this point. He's just working. You can see, and now
that's it. Look at his face. He's like, ah.
You can see him focusing down the Trebs. He knows he's in trouble. They're raining down. He's trying to pull villages, but it's too late at this point. The Trebs just keep unfolding. They've got the outpost.
How many Trebs were left? I want to know how many Trebs were left.
It looks like 7 right there.
But by the end, because it was only a few shots coming in, he kills one that wasn't even unpacked yet. There's 4
Trebs. 4 Trebs.
Oh, he knows. He knows it's over. Right here. Oh, jeez. It was 4 trebuchets left over.
Look at the villagers healing the trebuchets as well. Mr. just...
Look at that face.
Oh my gosh.
No. I feel so good for TheMista because it was an incredible comeback, but I also feel heartbroken for DeMusliM because, like, you never want to see someone lose like that.
It's where, there was a 99% chance he won that game.
Yeah.
There was a 1% chance he lost it.
He could have made it 100%, though.
He could have.
Yeah.
And that 1% slowly, in the space of about 2 seconds, turned to a 100% chance for his enemy.
I also have to shout out, I saw here on my screen, Beastyqt with 100 gifted subscribers. I know Beastyqt was gifting, I believe, yesterday as well, and I know a lot of you have been gifting. And this is, of course, Nilly's channel. And this type of production would not be possible without the generous contributions of viewers like you. So thank you so much, everyone, for the support. If you enjoyed the finale to that last game, which I'm still trying to cool down from, make sure you show Nilly some love, all right? Big bite. You don't have to swallow or anything. Just put it in your mouth. That sounded terrible. That sounded awful.
After the
Wait
game.
a cut it.
After the
That's
series.
not going on YouTube. Cut it.
After the series.
Wait a second. Yeah.
Wow. I am just... I'm still shaking from that game. I can't imagine what Mr. is feeling like right now.
Yeah.
It is just... You saw how ecstatic he was after that game.
Dude, he was like, he was like screaming. I'm
You
surprised
never
we couldn't
see
hear
emotion
him
out of
in
this
here,
guy
yeah.
either. Like, he's just such a...
And like, you're right beside your other competitor, but you can't be monotone after something like that. And I think DeMusliM will be perfectly understanding of that reaction.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Gosh, that was tough. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have got a potential Game 3 coming up for you guys soon. Let's take a look and see what the map is going to be. Looks like, let's jump in. Bear with us.
I think it's DeMuslim's last home map is
Hillendale.
Hillendale, yes, and
HR mirror, is that what we're going to see?
HRE. No, I don't think the Mista likes mirrors.
Oh, that's true.
I think we might see the Mongols here. Maybe.
Oh, good call. Yeah, of course.
Maybe. Maybe. But he likes to. It's either Mongols or it's a mirror, right?
Yeah.
He said people were mentioning Rus, and he said, "Yeah, Rus are okay against HRE on Hillendale. Like you have options." But he wasn't. He didn't seem too enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, when I spoke to LucifoN yesterday after his series against his brother VortiX, I asked what's the go with the Rus pick because he picked it and his brother picked Delhi, and he said I was hoping he picked the Holy Roman Empire because that would have just been easy for me. I had so many options, but against Delhi I've got nothing. So that's a good point. We could see that, but I mean, Mr. is absolutely looking very strong at this point because it's very simple. He picks Mongols, DeMusliM. I mean, with this map, you've got to assume he's going to be going for the Holy Roman Empire.
Yep.
And that seems like a pretty decent matchup there for
What if DeMusliM plays some mind games though? Is there any other options he could go for?
China.
Also, we have to consider what the remaining 2 maps are because if he wins this, there's going to be 2 more games.
That's a great point. Yeah.
So are Holy Roman Empire viable on any of those? Or are they simply viable on this?
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll take a look at what kind of maps are available to Mr. Hopefully going to grab that one.
We've seen this screen about 15 times. It's just that the information never sticks, you know? It just bounces off.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
I need it up on this monitor here so that I've constantly got it because I'm looking for it now. There we go.
There we go. Overlay
Thank you, guys.
guy. There we go.
All
Lippany and Highview.
So 2 open maps.
So not really viable picks that much for
Yeah, I get.
HRE.
And that's exactly it. But, I mean, the great maps for Mongols, though, so
Yeah.
if Mr. does want to keep it, he can potentially do it. We could see Abbasid come out for him.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's a lot of flexibility here in the picks for Mr. For DeMusliM, though, he does have access to the English. He's a big fan of the English as well, so that could be one option that he looks to go for, but it just seems like such a waste on Hillendale.
Yeah. Also, what's your mindset like going into this game if you're DeMusliM?
It's not good.
If you're Mista, it's probably like, well, I can drop one now.
Yeah, I can very happily drop one, fall back onto my Highview Lippany Mongols. Yeah, but DeMusliM, not so much. Looks like players are heading into the game. It looks like we've got a Rus pick coming out here for DeMusliM. At least that's what I saw on the screen. On his screen, it looked like there was a bit of that maroon tinge.
Mm-hmm. You're really seeing something that I'm not.
Well,
I can barely make out that he's moving something.
We'll see how we go. We'll see how we go because that's my sneaking suspicion. We're going to be jumping into the game very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome to game number 3 of N4C. Today is day number 3. We are in set number 3. There's a lot of 3s here, and potentially Mr. might be looking to 3-0 DeMusliM here, unless DeMuslim's able to make something happen.
And DeMusliM has gone for the Rus. So we were convinced that he would be going for the HRE, and Mista would be playing games around this because it was DeMuslim's home map. And now Mista has gone for the Holy Roman Empire. So he's going for the more meta approach.
Yeah, interesting. This is obviously a matchup that's really focused around the relics. So hopefully we've got some pretty decent relic spawns on this seed. Often in this game, it's going to be important to have, balanced relics, and you can actually see that on the south side of the map, Mista's got a relic in his base.
Oh, wow.
Talk about safety.
Yeah, that's free right there. But we look at the other relics, and there's 2 relics very close to DeMuslim's base. He's got one that's quite near, and then the other one is behind the cliff. If he wants to deny access to that. But we'll go to the final relic here, and it is in the middle. Oh, I guess there's one to the left as well, if Mista space.
I'd be pretty happy either way with this spawn. I think this one's pretty fair.
Yeah.
So I don't think Mista's going to be able to have too many complaints about this one, especially with that extra safe relic that he's going to have. But now we start to see Mista moving out around the map and chasing away that that scout from DeMusliM. You'd expect to potentially see at least... Oh, has Mista not realized that he's going to be taking out these hunts?
Oh, he got that one. He's waiting.
But remember that he's run past this already.
Yeah.
And he hasn't actually taken out the deer yet.
Yeah. He's got 3 scouts, though. Mista.
Really? He's got that many scouts? That's a lot of scouts. Second one coming back now. First one here. Where's the third one, Dave?
It said he had 3. Oh, he probably has a pre-light. That's it. Yeah, I got you baited.
It's all right. We've all been there. We've all been there. But a little bit of a dance happening down towards this deer patch. Now, keep in mind behind this, DeMuslim's going to be soaking up the other deer that are out on the map because he's going to be making plenty more scouts. He's got access to that hunting cabin in the first stage, which acts as his mill, but also acts as a pseudo-stable or a pseudo-town center with the ability to train scouts. So he's going to be getting those out nice and quick. We'll head over into his perspective and see what his bounty is at the moment. Because typically, as the Rus, you want to be looking at getting that bounty, maximizing it as much as possible. And you can see he's collecting up towards the north.
220.
Pretty decent bounty already.
2 minutes and 50 seconds into the game.
That's great.
With a contested patch. I mean, that's pretty good.
And probably going to secure this one up as well. That's going to cross him over to 250. He's a happy camper.
Yeah, Mista just kind of attacking scout v scout there.
Yeah, interesting strategy.
Pretty indecisive.
Yeah, unfortunately didn't work out for him. So I think Mista may have forgotten he was playing against the Rus, unfortunately. But now Golden Gate going to be going down in the base of DeMusliM. Nice early age up here. 312 was when it got dropped down, so pretty decent timing for him.
And what's the opening from him? Is he going to attempt to wall the area for Mista?
Yeah, so typically the play in this situation would be to go into a melee composition. So I'd be looking at going spears as well as knights or horsemen, and then look to try and get those walls in. Because keep in mind, the Rus walls, they are faster building,
More
cheaper,
HP.
and much more HP. Yeah, so you're looking at the 3,500, I think, if I remember correctly, up against the 1,500 of standard walls. So it is, it's definitely a good matchup for him. The question's going to be whether he's going to be able to get those walls up or not.
Yeah. Also, worth pointing out, DeMusliM, relatively the same heartbeat as the Mista through the last 2 games, and then we go into this one elevated.
Yeah, look at that heartbeat right now, sitting about 40 BPM higher.
I love having that here.
I really do
adds
too.
something else
Yeah,
to it.
I think we're going to have to make it compulsory. Everybody starts
so
wearing
good,
these.
yeah.
It's so good.
It gives us talking points when nothing else is really happening.
Well,
if nothing
exactly
else,
it,
you know.
right?
And as a caster, I appreciate that, honestly.
But now we see the Archon Chapel going up for the Mista as well. We'll take a look at the positioning of it and see how well he's doing. So he's got the gold mine, he's got the berries, he's got his town center, and he's got a little bit of the wood line, but not a whole lot of it. Doesn't get too much of a juicy one, but it's not terrible. I give it a 6 out of 10.
Yep. And there's 4 scouts on the field there.
Here's the walling villager
coming forward. So the scouts are going to pave the way for this villager to come forward and wall that in. But unfortunately for him, if he walls in the cliff, there's a relic there already in Mista's base, unless he walls in a little bit further forward from that.
I think you just give him the one relic and you call it a day, and then you look to try and take the rest of it. The other alternative is if you can delay him from getting up, you can potentially give yourself a gate and look to try and steal it from him.
Yeah.
We did see that MarineLorD actually went up against... I can't remember who it was, but we saw him go up against a player that had 5 relics and yet still came out victorious. So don't count him out even if he doesn't get any of the relics.
Was it LucifoN?
Could have been.
I think it was LucifoN, yeah.
So, yeah, it's always the potential chance. But no upgrades coming through for these guys. We've got the age up for DeMusliM now coming through as well. We'll take a look over at his base, and you can see that scout going to be scouting out. And we do have the stable coming down, so it is going to be early nights for him. And plenty of food in the base of DeMusliM at this stage. He's going to be a happy camper, but no professional scouts coming through just yet, which is, I guess, a variation that we don't typically see.
Well, I think he wanted to prioritize getting that early night out first.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And we start to see the reaction now coming through for the Mista, so dropping down a barracks. I think that's going to be the first military production building, but already we start to see counterplays coming out from TheMista. He recognizes that he is getting walled in up towards his position and subsequently down towards the south.
Did he make another preemptive wall?
Correct.
He's making a preemptive wall so that if DeMusliM, I think he needs to make this a little bit further actually, but if DeMusliM wants to wall this off, he's going to have to expend a lot of energy to wall all the way around this.
Correct. Yeah, that's the idea. And I agree with you. I think it's got to go out a little bit longer than what it is at the moment. But you can see that knight going to be coming down and looking to actually deny this before it even gets up if he's careful or if he spots it. And he does spot it. DeMusliM going to be stopping this before it happens. Didn't get the charge off. And a little bit of confusion.
If he has this knight over here, honestly, he can just go forward past that wall even and make a wall across there. So,
yeah, one of the things you got to keep in mind, there were a couple of house rules for this tournament. One that was getting thrown up was whether chop throughing is enabled. So that's when the wall goes right up to the forest. And so that is allowed, where players are allowed to chop through those walls. So that's always a possibility that he can do that, even if he looks to wall on that forest.
Okay, so early knight is on the gold. We look at the res bank here from TheMista, and he's got 840 food, and he's got 800 gold as well. So he's thinking about going up to H3, wants to get those relics in as quickly as possible. We talked about the free one in his base. He's still got a knight to be concerned about roaming around there. And there's another one, if the wall-off doesn't come down on the left side, there's another one not too far away either.
Yeah, but take a look in the base of DeMusliM. He's actually dropped to second town center. Ooh. So this is a nice variation. And you can see the resources that he's got in the bank. He is very intent on going up to the castle age as well. So he's going to be up a little bit later than TheMista. And typically, he wants to prevent Mista from gathering any extra relics. Obviously, you've got to give him that one. It's in his base. There's no arguing about that. But it's about those second and those third ones that are really important. And we do see that Regnit's coming down now for TheMista.
And the Regnit's Cathedral over on the right side of his base. So thinking about that relic first. The scouts engage against the villager. Mista is going to trap that one scout in there. Somebody call an ambulance, but not for me. And certainly not for him, because he's already dead.
He's dead, yeah. We'll need to call the, what's it called, the mortuary?
The
cemetery?
The morgue, the coroner.
Yeah.
The funeral home.
Yes.
The relatives, hopefully.
Let them know, unfortunately, your son, the scout, has gone. But speaking of scouts, we spot that on the north side of the base, that scout is still sitting there guarding that relic. So Mista is still watching out. You can see he's reached the castle age now, just making sure that that doesn't go the way of the dodo. But a villager going to be coming out, and we'll look at the wall that might potentially be coming out. I suspect we're going to see it down towards this position here. But that villager...
I don't know if he's going to have enough time for that, though. With the spearmen out there, and the Mista almost having the prelate coming out soon, especially with those scouts being weak. I guess there is an early night, and the Mista has his spears on the other side, trying to secure that relic first.
And it looks like the two spears are going to go down, both of them very low health. And now the prelate going to have to retreat because the spears just weren't simply enough.
There is two spearmen, though.
Couple more
and
spears
another
back
one coming in.
Yeah.
He's getting the relic in. I guess it's just, can he disrupt this wall? All he needs to do is disrupt one tile of this wall. That's it.
Yeah, but now we see DeMusliM coming in and doing the beautiful walling trick. You can see the way that he's walling right now. It's going to enable him to get up these walls without being blocked. So that guarantees that the walls are going to be safely up. And now you can see that Mista turning his attention towards these pillars, but at the same time, DeMuslim's going to be able to react in time before that actually gets taken. And look at
there's a gap!
Oh, the gap! The two prelates going to be making their way through. Look at that tiny little gap.
No, this is why you always click through, just in case.
Jeez, that is unfortunate. That could be game turning as well.
Oh, that's so frustrating for DeMusliM, though. That's so frustrating. You just expended so much effort on that. But Mista has to hold this.
Are those prelates stuck? Are those prelates too fat to fit through the hole?
Door stuck.
Is that a Drongo prelate? They get the heal up. A little bit of a delete comes through right now. Knight's going to be doing absolute damage as those spears unfortunately do go down. And now those prelates unfortunately going to get mauled along with the spears.
And he just didn't have enough spears to follow it up. There's two knights there and the scouts as well. So even though he missed that hole, he should have been able to complete that wall, and he was not. So Mista out on the field once again. The villager will be tracked by the scouts. It's just about how fast his prelates can get out there to snag those relics.
Now, we've got a unit coming across from DeMusliM. What unit do we have? Is it potentially a warrior monk that is heading down to snag away this relic? It's just about to enter our screen, hopefully.
Well, he's still in H2.
A little bit up. Oh, I do apologize. He's not even in H3 yet.
So,
Here, I'm thinking ahead of myself.
That would be impressive, to be honest.
I'm ahead of myself. I'm thinking, all right, well, we've got a potential thief on our hands, but no, it doesn't seem like it was the case.
Yeah, and he tried to complete that wall right there, but wisely missed it with a scout just kind of hanging out on that placement. So the villager is gonna die eventually. He doesn't seem concerned.
He doesn't
that
seem
he's
concerned.
being attacked.
You're killing me, but just he picked it up in the end. He picked it up in the end.
God, it took you long enough.
But now it looks like the second relic going to be picked up here for the Mista. He's going to be very happy with that, but he's got to be careful here. The knight
this
running
might be
in.
the third prelate down.
Yeah, there's been a lot of prelates lost this game, and now that Wallalor going to be coming off. Is he going to be able to get it off in time? I don't think he is.
There's no way.
Oh, it was close. I reckon that would have been half a second in it.
Yeah, well, that is a moral victory right there for DeMusliM. And here we go with villagers. Where were those villagers heading?
Yeah, it looks like they're heading out towards the boar. There's a boar that's out there. So if we take a look from DeMusliM's perspective, I'd love to know at the moment what his bounty is sitting at. You can see he's sitting on 390. This is going to put him up towards that 450 mark and really put him in the position to be hitting up towards 500. Keep in mind there are two boars out on the map and taking out the first and the second, which, by the way, take a look at the second spawn for that boar as well, right next to DeMusliM's base, just on the edge right here. Look at this. Double boar, very safe.
Well, it looks close, and then you realize that he has to go all the way around the cliff. You know, he can look at it from the cliff, though.
And there's a wood line in there as well, so he's really got to get, he's got to get his stroll on.
Yeah. Now guarding another relic. He's got two relics in the cathedral now. And there's the Palace of Swabia already, even with all of this going on. And he's going to start printing, and suddenly the advantage from the double TC from DeMusliM will evaporate once he's in the next stage.
Yeah, this is pretty impressive coming out from the Mista. The fact he's able to get up to the fourth age despite, only having that one relic in his possession. Obviously bringing back the second one now. And you can see that there are still plenty of relics out on the map to grab. The issue is that we do see that first one going to get picked up right now. So being taken by a warrior monk in the center of the map. Two relics remain, and both very safe for DeMusliM. So I think the Mista is probably going to have to resign himself to the fact he's only getting two relics this game.
I think there's a reason that the Civ is picked here.
What's that?
I think there's a reason it's meta.
Why?
Because they have this palace. They have the relic income.
Yeah.
And if you fail just one of those walls, the whole strategy starts to crumble.
Yep, and that's exactly it. The whole key to playing against the Holy Roman Empire is do not let them get relics. And if they do, even just two relics, it can be more than enough. Often I talk about the 3 legs of Exodia that is the Holy Roman Empire. Turns out Mista only needed 2.
Yep. All right, so fourth age is in for Mista, so we will make a count right now. It's 66 villagers for DeMusliM, which is a decent position right now, and 44. It was 44 for the Mista. And now we're going to count in another 2 minutes and see what the economies are looking like for both of these players. Now, heading into the late game, which Civ would you favor, assuming they both have similar economies in a couple minutes?
Yeah, I think that the Holy Roman Empire spike much sooner.
Yeah.
The problem is that DeMusliM's going to need to take this really, really late. So I'm talking, 40, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while to run down the Mista. He's going to have to look for map control, try and secure up those gold mines in the center of the map. He's got plenty of access on this map, but he really needs to get towards that composition that we saw Beastyqt used to use with such success yesterday. So I'm talking, the classic 12 Mangonel composition.
Okay, so we've got knights roaming around. The walls are still blocking on the front and the right side, and barracks now being placed from the Mista. No surprise there.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be... Ooh, take a look at this. So he's getting a unique upgrade here that's available to the Holy Roman Empire. This is a riveted chainmail, so it increases the melee armor of spearmen by 3, and it actually turns these things into complete beasts. Unstoppable out on the field because they're so cheap, yet they do so much damage and they're so tanky. So I would expect that we potentially see +1s, +2s, and +3s coming out for him on that melee armor, and he's just going to look to put on some hurt.
Yeah, and it looks like right now, DeMusliM, pure cavalry composition.
Yeah, not going to be very effective up against those spears. So we'll be looking out to see whether he gets those elite upgrades. I still think he might be running those. It looks like the veterancy has just come through for him. But there's a lot of units that are going to be coming the way for Mista, and this is what DeMusliM needs to be really careful of. It's this early spike, because he failed to prevent the relics from being taken in. It really means that now he just has to play for the late game. That's the only potential way he can win.
Well, did he really fail, though? I mean, he denied 3 of them.
You got to deny the 4th one as well.
Yeah, you kind of do, because he's getting, 300 gold per minute
per relic
on the relics, and Mista is getting 600, so.
Yes. Yeah, he's getting a lot of gold, and so as we saw, it enables him to get up to the castle age. He's then able to convert that gold into a lot of units, all of his upgrades. He doesn't have to worry about mining gold if he wants to. And now it looks like we're going to have the Imperial Age coming through here for DeMusliM. You can see he's going up with a high armory and already dropping down double siege workshop. So I would expect that we're probably going to be seeing mangonels, maybe a few springles, but definitely mangonels.
He's got 4 archer ranges too.
That's a great point. So
and he's taking the Sacred Site victory, so haha.
That's true. It's a great way to sort of supplement your gold income there. Obviously, you don't have the same Holy Roman Empire gold income coming through, but now we can see those spears looking to do a fair bit of damage out on this eastern flank.
Yep.
But unfortunately do get cleaned up, but some effective trades there still for him. Streltsy going to be the way that DeMusliM goes, and I got to say, I like this.
It took 3 in-game minutes for them to equal villagers.
And Mista, just like a McLaren
and now
against
it's
a Camry. Yeah, it's
right on by.
It is very, very simple right now. But yeah, he's going to rocket up to the moon, and then he's going to look to really try and outproduce his enemy. That's what it's going to be all about. He'll be sitting up at 130 villager population. The DeMusliM probably on 96, and yeah, he's going to be in absolute prime position here.
Okay, so battered down the wall on the right. He has access to the middle of the map. He's just kind of building his forces before he goes out. The cavalry comes in and picks off a few villagers from the Mista. So DeMusliM doing a good job. He's defending with aggression right now, and he's building up his main force behind this. So the cavalry was his opening, but behind this, like you said, Streltsy coming out and Siege as well.
3rd town center now being put down for DeMusliM. I don't know how I feel about this. I guess that makes sense considering that he's obviously going to need to try and keep up with Mista, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. And now we start to see that the front gate is going to be taken down. Mista wants to get out. He wants to break out of his walls, and we do have that elite upgrade coming through. So now those beautiful golden socks coming in on those spears. They're going to be looking to try and take out these Rus Lancers or Knights as they move through the base. But I really think it's important for Mista to wall up that eastern side of his base. It's a gaping hole there, and he needs to make sure it closes.
Yeah, he already walled up the west side, so there's no opportunity for the raids to come in from behind. But definitely once you open the walls from red, you need to close them back down once again. And he's going to send a unit over there, cancel that Sacred Site timer, get the gold income out of his enemy's hands. And he does it all 3 at the same time.
Impressive stuff coming out from him. Really great job of neutralizing these sacred sites. Now, I think the question is, what kind of composition does Mista look for? I'm suspecting that we're probably going to see horsemen, spears, and bombards. This composition is incredibly difficult to deal with. This is something that Fitzy here, one of the Twitch streamers, is quite a prominent player, a very talented Holy Roman Empire expert, sort of pioneered. So essentially what you're going to be seeing is a huge amount of trash units out on the field, but just a handful of bombards there. So I expect that's what we'll see, but we'll have to wait and see how Mista plays it and whether he looks to do a similar composition.
And then for the Rus.
The Rus, on the other hand, it's the Streltsy, it's the Springles, it's the Mangonels, and most importantly, the Keeps. Keeps are going to be really important for them. They try and want to keep everything inside their proxy keeps, and that prevents any sort of push coming in, any sort of flank from coming in. Boiling oil going to be a very important upgrade, and that's part of where we saw trebuchets actually come in to counter that. But now we do indeed see the Keeps coming down in the middle of the map.
Yeah, and I think we saw all we needed to see from the Rus late game yesterday. That crazy game with Beastyqt, and he showed us exactly what they can do. And we see both players going for keeps here, but the Bombards are behind already from DeMusliM, so that keep is not long for this world for the Mista.
And a 3rd Bombard now going to be coming out. So DeMusliM not taking the Beastyqt route of just going 1,000,001 mangonels.
Culverin already, okay.
We have very, very early Culverin coming out here from Mr. And this is quite a smart move, actually. Second one in queue already. Looks like he is trying to get an emplacement on that keep.
Is the timing going to be correct, though? He's trying to repair the keep until the Culverin gets there. He's going to push away the bombards. He's still got villagers working on it, and he's got infantry at the top, and it looks like he might be able to take out that bombard. The villagers are repairing it. One bombard goes down, the other bombard being attacked by the Culverin. This could be excellent timing here for the Mista as all 3 bombards go down and the keep remains alive.
What a beautiful trade right there for Mista. That's 3,000 resources being exchanged right there. That is a huge victory for him. That's absolutely massive, because it was that point right there that DeMusliM could have been able to push out and really stop this ability to exist in the middle from the Mista. But Mista just really solidifies his position, and now we see the Horsemen coming out.
I feel like DeMusliM didn't notice that infantry army coming from the other side. If he did, he might have just committed towards the keep.
Yep.
At least take the keep down, right? Yeah.
Because you're going to lose those units anyway, so you might as well. And we see the slaughter of an innocent boar.
Innocent.
Innocent. He did nothing wrong.
Did nothing wrong.
Hashtag the boar did nothing wrong. But now more and more bombards coming out here for DeMusliM. He's looking pretty strong. We still don't see any of those upgrades coming through from the High Armory. Keep in mind, the High Armory, in addition to providing those unique upgrades for the Rus, also reduces the cost of siege that is made from any siege workshop that is in the proximity of it.
Now lots of cavalry. Lots and lots of units being built up from the Mista. He's not really showing this.
Yeah. He's keeping it hidden, keeping it secret.
Yeah.
And this is such a difficult composition to deal with. You can see that Mista is investing in his upgrades as well. He's going for his melee attack. He's going for his melee defense.
Even the eco upgrades. Look at the comparison here between these two guys.
Yeah, there's barely a wheelbarrow in it. Mista's just looking incredibly strong right now. I'm worried for DeMusliM because this is the timing window. You can see that the villager count's looking relatively even. DeMusliM a little bit ahead, but the military count is where it matters.
What were you saying about the villager count? Oh, he bypasses the villager. He goes right past the Streltsy as well, but he leaves some horsemen behind to deal with those villagers and maybe have a pincer movement here as he picks off a few from DeMusliM. DeMusliM was at, what, 125 there. That's going to go down as these units continue to converge. The Streltsy really struggling being surrounded, but there's another group of reinforcements behind that.
Yeah, those Streltsy are incredibly strong, but keep in mind they're also expensive units. So even though it looks like they shredded through those horsemen, that the trades were quite effective for the horsemen. Now it looks like he's going to be coming through between that stone mine, between that stoning or that mining camp, looking to turn his attention towards the Streltsy, and also going to be collapsing from the top side.
Another force coming from the other side. His positioning, his timing is immaculate here.
It is absolutely perfect. Mista looking incredibly strong, and take a look at the populations now, really starting to build up for the Mista. He's looking quite strong in this position. Now the Culverin going to be coming out. With these Culverin, it's going to prevent any real siege build-up. It's difficult because you need to invest a lot of resources in your Springords before you can go into the Mangonels. But now we see horsemen out on the field.
Mista's content losing this army as long as he gets the siege.
And that's
He's perfectly fine. He already got a Mangonel, and he might actually get this bombard here. They're so slow.
He takes it out. That's a beautiful trade there from Mista. Now towards the front, you can see those spears getting in on the action, trying their best to take out the Streltsy. Spears do incredibly well against the Streltsy because Streltsy have got a lot of attack, and the spears, well, there's a lot of spears. They're very cheap units.
Yeah, the Mista at 45 military, DeMusliM at 21, so he's really struggling to mass here, and he doesn't have that much food in the bank, doesn't have that much wood in the bank, doesn't have that much in the queue either.
Yeah, surprisingly not a lot of units there in the queue, but you can see that his economy, he's definitely transitioning into farms. If we can take a look back towards the base of the Mista right now, he's going to see so many farms. Dave, I'm telling you, you're going to see hundreds, if not thousands of farms. Maybe not that many, but...
Oh, there's the farm. Okay, I was going to say, I see 7. Also, what I see is so many upgrades from the Mista. Look at this. We can see from our beautiful overlay, we've got the double melee attack. We're getting the second melee armor. We've got 3 pierce. We've got 2 food eco upgrades, 2 wood eco upgrades, wheelbarrow. And then from DeMusliM's side, we have a very lonely food upgrade and pierce armor upgrade.
Don't forget the wheelbarrow. DeMusliM loves his wheelbarrow.
Yes.
But now we've got ourselves a bit of an attack up towards the north, and you can really see that Mista is starting to take over this game. He's sieging the central position. He's sieging up towards the north. These villagers have got to be really careful because once this wall goes down, that's going to be it for those. Now we actually see Looks like a keep has been expanded out towards the south of DeMuslim's base, but DeMuslim, he's not going to have any of that. You can see now that Horseman going to be moving out towards the Bombard. Not a lot of, there's too much smoke in there to tell exactly what's going on.
But he's going to be able to take out one Bombard and might actually find another one. I would have loved to see villagers standing there ready to repair on that.
Yeah,
it was not to be. I think he got one Bombard. I'm not sure if he got the second one. He's almost through that wall. He did not get the second one. The dead bodies are there to prove it.
And now we start to see the siege mass beginning to build up towards the north. You can see that the villagers are going to be called out to this position to try and heal up this wall. They're trying their best to get through it. A single Mangonel just firing down upon the Horseman, as well as that sprinkled emplacement in the wooden fortress. And it looks like that wall does go down, but the Horseman going to run away.
Yep.
Interesting. Bombards looking to try and take out this this central keep, and the villagers here just going to continue draining wood. It's interesting, Dave. It takes wood to heal a stone building.
Yeah.
Or to repair a stone building.
Yeah, you ever built a stone building?
With wood, yeah.
No, you need the scaffolding, the stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Thank you. You've enlightened me.
Try it.
I will. When I return to
You
Australia...
start stacking stones and let me know how it goes, all right?
But speaking of stacking stones, it looks like DeMuslim also going to be stacking up another keep in the middle here. The siege army from him is looking very strong, but at the same time, look at the horsemen coming out from the Mista at this point. I'm curious to see what kind of upgrades we've got on this bad boy, but you know what? Our UI tells us already. You can see he's got that +3 PS, the +2 melee.
Yep.
I just love this UI.
Yeah, it's so helpful to us as casters, and I'm sure it's helpful to viewers who are coming back into a game and weren't there for all of the upgrades. You know, you can look away for a second. You don't have to be paying 100% attention, although I expect every single one of you to be paying 100% attention, except when we make mistakes, by the way.
Yes,
but
I'm not eating any shoes today.
it adds so much to the broadcast, and we're so thankful to have it here. And the Mista is coming in now with such a big army, 72 military here, 54 military population for DeMuslim, and that keep goes down.
Take a look at the villager count right now for DeMuslim, Dave. What do you think about... Oh, excuse me, what do you think about this? 144 villagers.
I think he's a boomer.
I think so too. He's definitely a bit of a boomer, but look at these walls coming up, trying to delay the push as much as possible. Obviously knows he's got maximum population, but still trying to drop down as many siege workshops as possible.
Yep.
Wants to try and just get those reinforcements out quickly.
Yeah, now Mista is kind of sitting here like, where do I go? Where do I pressure? He's going to have to make a decision pretty soon.
Yeah, this is my fear that's happening right now. You can see that DeMuslim, it just happened. He got an upgrade. So the upgrade, oh, take a look at the Mangonels on the hill getting beautiful shots down on those bombards.
And they tickled it.
Yeah, barely. Look at that. It looks so great firing from up on that hill, though. I don't actually think the bombards or culvert can shoot back up there either.
And Mista sets up within range. he doesn't care. That bombard will go down eventually. Are these exposed bombards over here? I can't see.
They do look like they might be exposed.
Oh no! Is that 4 of them?
That's 1 bombard. That's 2 bombards. That's 3 bombards. That's a great deal.
Wow! You feel like the Streltsy. Next time, maybe the Streltsy need to go into the wilderness first to scout the path before the expensive siege units, because 3 bombards down is a big deal, especially when we look at DeMuslim's resources, and he has 140 gold in the bank. Granted, he does have 2 bombards queued, but this is a rough position for him. Okay, now it looks like he's balanced something because he's back up to 1,300 gold immediately.
Hashtag just Rus things, but
yeah.
Now I'm starting to worry for Mista because he still hasn't finished off the game, and this siege mass is building. Keep in mind, as the Rus, they get that cheaper siege because of the high armory, but not only that, they also get these upgrades. And one of the upgrades that we saw through was that extra sprinkled range. So if we go take a look up towards the Mista's base, or up towards DeMuslim's base, apologies, his sprinkleds are actually going to have, or should have, 13.5 range. And they outrange absolutely everything against the trebuchets, except for the trebuchets. There you can see 13.5 tiles of range. They outrange the culverin, they outrange the sprinkleds, they outrange absolutely everything, and that gives him siege superiority.
Yep.
And it means that he can afford to get 15 Mangonels if he wants to.
Well, they're fine as long as he stays up on his little hill. The problem for this is when he comes back down, and the Mista has the army advantage and can potentially collapse on those sprinkleds when they're exposed, right? And the Mista, if he wants to, he can make DeMuslim come back down. He's in through the wall over here, but he has the option to go for the sacred sites, and he's just now capturing the 3rd one.
Yeah, this could be it. maybe Mr. looking to actually force a Sacred Site victory here knows that DeMusliM's win condition is to take the game to 40 minutes, which is what we see him exactly doing right now. We enter into the 30th minute and take a look at these Streltsy just melting through all of these horsemen.
And I love the fact that he attacks on both sides at once.
Yeah, it's super smart.
So all the Streltsy go to the other side. DeMusliM, there's a chance that he doesn't notice the raid coming in from the left. And now TheMista is into the base with those cavalry. But DeMusliM did notice it. And DeMusliM will have siege there to repel this raid. And as soon as he's in, he goes back out. And as soon as the walls are down, the walls go right back up again.
It's curious to me that Mr. didn't go for that siege. He knew that that siege was there.
Look at this.
That's a lot of stone walls.
He's not messing around with these sacred sites here.
Yeah.
He says, all right, your Springalds have extra range. How did they do against stone walls exactly?
It doesn't seem that well. And look at this, starting to outpost up the middle because he's sitting on maximum population or very close to it. At least has the ability to go maximum population. So he says, I'll start adding in outposts. Makes total sense.
You can just see like the game sense, the intelligence in his play.
Yeah, yeah.
Every single game, he's got a plan and he's trying to stick to it. And DeMusliM, to be fair, DeMusliM had a plan this game as well. He tried to block the relics and then he fell back onto his second plan, which was play for the Roost late game.
Yep.
And that's where we are right now.
That's where we are right now, but you can start to see the production that Mister's got. He's got 18 horsemen being produced at this point in time. It's a huge amount of horsemen that he's got in the queue, and just immediately, just look at that. Just so many units coming out now. So he's got control of those 3 sacred sites. Fortunately, because of the UI, you can actually see how long we've got before that sacred site victory takes place. 8 minutes and 40 seconds to go, Dave.
Yep. The only one he's not walling, though, is the one in the middle. Maybe he wants to force the fight in the middle.
I think that would be the case, yeah. So delay out on the edges and then fight in the middle. That's why we've got all those outposts that are happening. But all these Mangonels getting out of position. 2 of them actually going down there.
That's more siege that's just kind of out by itself. Maybe he clicked it somewhere else and it pathed out there.
Little bit of a mistake, unfortunately, from DeMusliM. Resources not looking particularly well. Are we able to take a look at DeMuslim's gold right now? I'm worried for DeMusliM. I don't think he's got access to any gold. There's no gold in the base.
He's got a couple relics.
Where are his gold mines, though? He's got no gold, Dave.
No. Does he even have hunting cabins?
He's got hunting cabins trickling in, but with the exception of that, there's no gold here. This is the closest gold that he's got. So TheMista has taken complete control of the map, taken all the sacred sites, taken all the gold, and now says, all right, bring it on. You come out of your base to face me.
Yeah, and look at these towers even behind the wood lines here.
This is such a smart move.
It's so smart.
I don't see how Mr. can lose this.
Yep.
Dare I say it, but if Mr. loses this, I shall eat my shoe.
Listen, pal. We've been there before, all right? And promises have not been fulfilled here. So
all right.
It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing to me.
But he is looking like he's in a very, very good position. I will say that much.
And there's the siege sitting behind the wood line there, and that's not something that Mystic can take out. But this is, you know, if you're in Mystic's position, you're like, fine, set up your siege back there. Fine, take 30 seconds to take down every one of my outposts that wasn't a massive investment for me. I'm walling up the sacred sites. I'm building up my military. I'm banking so much res behind this.
Yep.
And eventually, when you come too far out, that's when I'm going to collapse on you.
Correct. And he's just got so much production behind this as well. I'd love to take a look from Mister's perspective and just see how much production he's actually got. Because I suspect it's probably about 30,
20?
35. Yeah.
20 in the queue?
20 in the
we
queue.
got a
at the
couple
moment.
culverins there. It looks like he's fortifying some of his towers. Cannon, is that cannon in placement there?
There we go. So we're actually looking, it looks like he's only got 19 production buildings. To be honest, I expected at least double that. Yeah, that's... now, interesting to note, up towards the north, we've actually got what appears to be a stone wall that's gone up across that little entrance. Or it is slowly going up. But I got to say, I love this nerf. Stone wall's taking a little bit longer to build.
No, it's great.
Yeah, it's really good.
They're so tough to take down.
They really
should be a really big investment to get up. And it looks like TheMista is still fortifying some outposts here. I think he needs to stop making villagers, though. He's still creating a few. I don't know why he's at 135. I think he needs more military population, especially if he's going to all the trouble of walling in the sacred sites. I think your primary focus for population should be in the middle of the field here.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you on that one, Dave. But have a look at the numbers of horsemen that are coming out here. It's huge. And the composition, because DeMusliM knows that his strength is going to be Siege.
Yeah.
So he wants to play into that. He wants to get the upgraded Springles. He wants to get the upgraded Mangonels. Mr. going for Cavalry here just makes so much sense. You really got to be careful because once DeMusliM gets towards that critical mass, even a huge flank of Cavalry just gets one shot.
20 stables in the middle here.
Take a look at those villagers getting absolutely destroyed. They went to put down that mining camp, and unfortunately the outpost has cancelled it. So now they're
just waiting to die there.
They're getting one shot by this outpost. I don't think he realized. You can see them all going down. He's down to 65 villagers.
65 vills? What happened? Did he delete everything for one final push here?
I'm not sure exactly what's happened, but those villagers are going to continue going down on this gold mine. He's looked away for a second, and they've all died. These outposts doing so much work here, Dave.
Yeah, it feels like there was a raid that we missed or something, or maybe if there was just that many villagers over here on the gold. He's down to 55 now.
But keep in mind, every villager that he deletes
is more population space. We see the swing all the time, right?
Exactly. So that is a potential possibility that we could see. But now those bombards coming out, it looks like he's put down his attention towards this southern sacred site. That's where the battle looks to be taking place. We can see that the keeps have gone down. The bombards are spreading and looking to try and take force. But now Culverin's coming out here, Dave, looking to try and
as well.
spike them.
I think everything Mista does here should be looking to buy time. He's got 4 minutes left on this. The bombards are now working on the walls. I don't know if... I think DeMusliM may have had vision on that one. I don't know if he's had vision on the walls on the other sacred sites.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but you can see that he's struggling a little bit here. The horsemen go in, just get absolutely destroyed. That boiling oil, as well as the Streltsy doing so much work. This is part of what I talked about earlier. Ideally, you want to stay underneath your keeps as the Rus civilization. That boiling oil just helps out so much.
You need more queued up, Mista. You're at 120 pop. He finally queues up more horsemen. He only had 5 horsemen queued. He's added production buildings here, but he needs to get more units in the queue. And look, he deleted so many villagers.
Oh, this isn't good. He's got absolutely no wood either, so it means he's only going to be able to make units that don't cost wood. Because
and look where he's going for wood. He sent all the villagers forward to that wood line. So maybe his way of deleting villagers, getting rid of pop, was just taking the wood and letting DeMusliM kill it. Yeah.
I don't think this is looking good right now for Mista. Despite the villagers being killed for DeMusliM, Mista's lost a huge amount as well. And if this sacred site goes down, then Mista doesn't really have a win condition here because DeMusliM has made it to the late game.
Yeah, and
this is what he wanted to do.
And there's the sacred site being contested here. What was up with that production for Mista, or lack thereof?
I'm not too sure what happened there for Mista. Unfortunately, it looks like he flew a little bit too close to the sun. We saw he was sitting at 200 or 200. He had 135 villages at one point, and he was putting outposts up on all the sacred sites, or in the middle in particular. But now it's all gone.
Yeah, and there's his main force of military over on that side of the map being no good to anybody. But DeMusliM got his units taken away.
Oh, it's the classic.
They got kited away from the keep, so the sacred site timer continues to tick here.
The oldest trick in the book, yes. The AI is always very fun about that because, unfortunately, and this is probably some good feedback here for the devs, the hold position isn't actually a behavior of these units, it's a command. So you have to tell them to hold position where you want them to hold position. So if you send them to the sacred site, they'll just walk off unless you tell them to hold position while they're on that sacred site.
I'm so confused what happened in this game.
The village
just, like, he went down to 120 population.
Yeah. Look at the villager count now as well.
Not really losing any army whatsoever. He's got 32 villagers now. What is happening?
This is a wild series.
Is he gonna, like, is he gonna landmark rush now?
Don't say that. Don't say that, Dave. It's too soon, Dave. It's too soon.
There's no reason for that army to be over there. There's absolutely no reason for that army to be over there.
Dave, you're too good at
this.
this.
Do I have, like, a spidey sense?
Dave, I gotta ask you, what civilization do you play in 4v4s?
Oh, no. Don't lump me in with those people. Don't lump me in with those people.
I got a feeling you're a Fire Lancer kind of guy, and having a look at this army, you just have the knack, the ability to identify this. He is going for it again. So just as this immobile army moves out...
But DeMusliM should be like, hang on a second. What's happening?
No, he's not. He's not. He's probably thinking that his enemy's just sitting back, chilling out, having a good time. You know, he's got his fan, he's got his water. But in reality...
That's so many units.
That's what he was doing this whole time. We're sitting here scratching our heads like, okay, well, he's got no villagers.
No, but why do this?
This is how you win, Dave. This is how you win.
I mean, if
so
it's
let's
not
take a
broke,
look.
don't fix it. He
Let's
did
look
it
at the
last
landmarks.
game.
So we've got the Abbey of the King,
Yeah.
or Abbey of the Trinity. We've got the main town center. We've got the Golden Gate that are all packed in tightly, and now we've got the High Armory. So all 4 landmarks are in the base.
Oh my god, that's like Rohan showing up to save Gondor, except they're killing all their buildings.
Has that wall in the north been walled in? Let's take a little bit. Yep. Okay. He's managed to put this wall down. When it comes to the horsemen, are those elite horsemen as well? They are elite horsemen.
Did he click through? Is he going to go around the front of his base? I think he clicked through, and he's going to go around the front of his base.
Here we go,
okay,
ladies
now
and gentlemen.
He deletes the wall.
All right.
DeMusliM has to be sensing that something is happening here. He hasn't seen anything, and when,
the distraction is coming in.
Yeah, but when nothing,
the distraction is coming in.
Yeah, sure, fine, whatever. But there's a bazillion horsemen over here, and you got to get your siege back. You got to get your units back. There's no way you can wall behind this when you don't see anything from your enemy for 10 minutes. You have to think about your win conditions and your enemy's win conditions, and it's just not happening.
And immediately, DeMusliM is reacting. We can see that now moving his siege back towards his base. He's got 4 landmarks that he needs to defend. Keep in mind, as long as he gets one of them to stay alive, he should be okay.
There's so many horses here, dude. There's 5,000 HP on the High Armory, the Golden Gate. I don't know how much. There's time for math nerds to come along now as we judge the HP. The landmarks are going to go down for the 2nd straight game.
This is not happening. DeMusliM is going to be hanging his head in shame. He's going to be walking out with his tail between his legs because this High Armory is going down. You can just see there's so many horsemen in here.
Watch the TheMista pop off after this.
Game. I mean, look at that beautiful
look
face.
Look at this. He can just take his hands off his mouse and keyboard and watch.
Well played. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to N4C. This is day number 3, set number 3. Mr. winning 3-0 up against DeMusliM, and look at that face. He is a happy man.
That's 2 in a row. That's 2 in a row. I love to see it. That's so exciting, and it's such a unique way to win. But also, questions have to be asked about DeMusliM, and we have to feel pretty bad, actually, for him because he's such a great guy and he's such a great competitor. And to go down like that twice is just not the way you want to do it. And, man, does Mista ever have a smile on his face right now? Holy.
That's a big smile. That is a big bloody smile. Wow. Okay. I mean, there's so much to unpack from that. There's so much to talk about from that game. Where do we even start, Dave?
Well, I mean, the strategy from DeMusliM, he had a good opening. To be honest, he managed to take 2 relics, but like you said, you need to take 4. And then he went to his secondary win condition if he fails the walls. And that's basically get into his siege ball at the end of the day. And it never triggered to him that his enemy wasn't doing anything. His enemy wasn't responding. So
I think for me, the interesting thing is, had it been up against any other civilization, there would have been stone walls out there. He never would have been able to get through. Yeah. But it was against the Rus, the civilization without stone walls.
Yep, and we're going to go to the interview now. I have Nilly sliding me in here as Mista takes that 3-0. Let's move on over.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the casting couch. We're here with DeMusliM.
Hello.
Mista, congratulations.
Thank you.
3-0.
Yeah, those games were really, really tough. They were really, really tough.
They look like some of the most incredible games that we've actually seen in this tournament so far. So hopefully it's a sign of things to come. Let's talk about that 3rd game. Coming into that game, you knew that if the Rus got into the late game,
it was over.
It was over.
Yeah.
Was that your plan from the start, to be going for that landmark snipe?
My plan was to get the middle, keep spamming towers and keeps, and basically wood starve him. But the wood lines were so close to his base, it was almost impossible to do that. So I knew that I would trade really, really bad against him, but I was prepared. I'm HRE, I have more villagers, better economy, faster economy. But the wood lanes were a bit unfortunate because I couldn't really stop him from gathering wood, so I just couldn't stop him from making seeds, lots of seeds.
I don't know where to go. Okay, 2nd game, right? Craziness happening, and you built your Age 4 landmark way far away.
Yeah.
At what point did you consider, oh, I should go for a landmark victory? Like, at what specific point in the game?
Suddenly I see I have like 9 traps, and I'm like, maybe.
Oh,
Maybe I
so
can
it was
do it?
once you had the. I thought
Yeah.
it was all like maybe in the back of your
Like
head.
my plan
planning
at the
for
start
it.
was like, how can I stop his reinforcements so I can force him to fight in 2 different fronts,
Yeah.
which makes his siege really bad, because I have keeps that blocks all the pathways. And I was able to do that by sneaking a keep in between our bases, and then we were fighting in 2 fronts, and
Yeah.
his siege weren't really good. And then I kept getting lots of trebs from the Wainer Palace. And I'm like, at one point, I'm like, I have no eco, I have like almost no army. I'm pretty sure he's like full pop because I full pop villagers, and I'm like, there's only one way, and it's in front of me. Both landmarks were there. All I need to do is somehow get all of my traps together and get close enough.
How did that pop off after the first game? Like on a scale from 1 to 10, how did you feel after you actually got that? And he's like charging in to try and get your trebs.
At that point, I'm like, not much I could do. Like, I think I stopped using my keyboard and I just hit the villagers, and I'm like, let's hope I wasn't even looking at the landmark. I was just looking at my trebs. As long as my trebs are shooting, I can win.
There was, in that second game in particular, you looked down and out. It didn't look like there was any way for you to really come back into it.
Like, I don't know if you noticed, like how the game started, I found only 2 sheep. Only 2 sheep. I wanted to put high pressure on him, and then I find 2 sheep. And the funniest thing is, like, I scout his base, behind his base. I start building my farms. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go second town center. And then my scout finds 8 sheep in the corner.
I didn't notice that.
And I'm like, oh, well, 3 TC it is.
Yeah.
We have started to see more and more town centers coming out in this matchup, especially English versus Abbasid. Do you think that it's going to be like this in the future with more and more town centers, or was it just simply because of the spawn?
I just didn't find sheep. So I'm like, it would be a waste to rush because I wouldn't be able to afford it. I had to gather berries. So I was like, I'm going to farm. But if I'm going to farm, I'm not putting pressure. So I might as well go for a town center. Like, make a few longbows, force some towers, delay his TC, then I have my TC, then he gets 30 TC, but I get castle TC. So I'm like, I can play with that.
First game. I hate to go back to the first game after those 2 amazing ones. Like, I've almost forgotten it now. But you keep telling me that you're really comfortable against the Mongols.
Yeah, I haven't lost
Did you
against
feel like
Mongol
that
yet.
was just a win heading into that?
I felt comfortable.
Yeah.
I just felt comfortable. That's about it. Like, I could say that the most games I've played are with like French and Mongols, and I know how both sheaves feel.
Yeah.
And as I said before, in a lot of times to many people, I don't like Tauras. Like, Tauras makes like. It basically makes the matchup even. If he Tauras the friend, if he Tauras is a Mongol, if a Mongol Tauras is the friends, he basically loses his advantage. So as soon as I saw the villager coming with my 1 scout, I'm like, okay, we were expecting this.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Let him come.
And you went really heavy into age 2 there. You never even thought about age 3.
I was thinking about it. So basically, we kept trading, and I kept seeing that I can trade better. I
Yeah.
was trading better because he was holding back resources.
Yeah.
He was playing from 1 stable and 1 barrack, which means that he couldn't spend all of his resources. So eventually, he would get castle. So I'm like, all I need to do is stop the gold mines, because I could see the 2 gold mines. Like,
Yep.
if I can stop the gold mines, it's basically archers and spears against knights and archers, and I will have the advantage. So I was just hoping for him to get castle and not make more units.
How are you feeling right now?
Oh, I don't know. Like, I'm super happy. Actually, like, extremely happy. Like, winning these 2 games was like the 2 hardest games. Like, if I consider all of the games that I played in Age of Empires 4, these 2 were like 2 games that I was in such a hard position to win them. It felt almost hopeless, but I was like, let's try this, let's try that, let's try this, especially in the last game. I had like no hope, and I'm like, okay, I'm delete everything, just spend all of my resources, make an insane amount of horsemen, and I just kept hiding them, just waiting for him to move his units towards my base.
So just to clarify, you did delete villages in
Oh,
that.
I deleted everything.
You deleted 100 vills.
I
More
deleted
than that,
everything.
yeah.
I deleted everything. I even deleted units, I think, at some point.
Well, it was an absolutely impressive series, so thank you very much for playing. Heading into tomorrow, you've got a couple of options for who you go up against. Is there anyone that you don't want to go up against?
No, not really. I think the level here is like, it's similar to all the players. So it doesn't matter who you play. It's all about the day. You're going to play good. Do you have a good day? You're going to perform well.
Well, good luck tomorrow. Thank you very much for the interview, and congratulations once again. Dave, that's all the questions from me. Any further from you?
I mean, we've asked everything. Amazing sets, man. Super entertaining. I bet you could hear us yelling over there after the games were done.
The only thing I could hear was my heartbeat.
Yeah, true.
A calm 43.
Was it 43?
It said 70, but I know you say that it doesn't
just
beat fast.
It
just
fits
beats
really hard. Like
Yeah.
I think just before we started the games, DeMusliM was like, "What's your heartbeat?" And I was like 120. Just before the first game started, there was 120.
So you drop off in the game, and then
I think I just
starts
get
getting
zoned.
intense.
Like I just get lost inside the game. Like
Yeah.
I don't care about anything else that's happening around me.
Yeah.
Just lost on my own thoughts.
Okay.
All right. Well, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We've got one more set coming up for you this evening, so it's looking to be a cracker. We'll take you guys over to some highlights, and this next set will be